Very good morning, honourable members. Let me take this opportunity to wish you a warm welcome back to Parliament at the start of our third term of Parliament, a very short third term of Parliament. Let me also take this opportunity to greet the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. Let me also greet the NYDA, our support team, and all South Africans that are following us on the various platforms. You are all very welcome to this meeting this morning. I want to take just an opportunity to see how many members do we have online, Yolanda. Good morning, Ms. Silly. I see Dr. Leklape. I see Honorable Kanyile. Good morning, Honorable Kanyile. Good morning, Dr. Leklape. Good morning, Honorable Chauke Adonis, Honorable Polwane, and Honorable Mbiko. A warm welcome to all of you. Ms. Silly, please can you deal with our agenda?
Good morning, Chairperson and honorable members, and the the department and the NYDA. Chairperson, in front of us we have the opening and welcome, the consideration of the Portfolio Committee's third term program, and the tabling of the Portfolio Committee's fourth term draft framework. The adoption of minutes and reports, and also we will be receiving feedback on constituency matters from the NYDA and the department, and then we'll have closure. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Ms. Silly. Colleagues, please may I take your hands for a mover and a seconder of our agenda? I see the hand of Honorable Chauke Adonis, followed by Honorable Kanile.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and greetings to yourself and all honorable members, our staff members, and also the executive from the department and the NYDA as well. And thank you for the warm welcome back. Chairperson, with the agenda that has been put before us, I hereby move for the adoption of the agenda.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chauke Adonis. Honorable Kanile.
Good morning, Chair, to you. Good morning to the colleagues. Chair, I'm going to proceed on the protocol that has already been established. With that being said, Chairperson, I second the move to adopt the agenda. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kanile. Ms. Silly, let's quickly deal with our apologies, please, for the records.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have received an apology from Honorable Zodezi, who will not be able to make the meeting as he is attending the Justice Portfolio Committee, and also Honorable Mailola, who is currently on the road traveling, but will try to log in. Thank you, Chairperson.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Silly. Colleagues, we also wish to greet Honorable Khadebe. Welcome, Honorable Khadebe Bungane. You are most welcome. Good morning also to the CEO of the NYDA. Thank you for joining us. Colleagues, we last saw each other in June. Yes, morning.
Apologies for the interruption. I just wanted it to be put on record. I have been requested to also make the submission for Honorable Rachel Adams, if that can also be noted as one of the apologies received. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for that, Honorable Whip. We'll note that apology. I also see the Honorable Kaula has joined us. Colleagues, when we last interacted, it was June, so it's quite some time ago. It's more than a month ago. Since then, some of you celebrated your birthdays. And for those who celebrated birthdays, we do wish you many happy returns. and some of you were nominated as mayoral candidates. I saw Honorable Mayulula has been nominated as a mayoral candidate for the Steve Tshwete municipality. So for all of those that have received new deployments, we wish you well. We also did not have the opportunity in our last meeting to say goodbye to one of our key members of this portfolio committee, Honorable Jasmine Peterson. And so I would like to take this opportunity to thank her for her contributions to our committee. And we really do wish her well on her new endeavors, and we will miss her contributions as a portfolio committee. I do believe that the Patriotic Alliance has appointed a new member to serve on this portfolio committee. I do not know if the honourable member has joined us. If she has joined us, if she can just indicate so that we can also formally welcome her. Honourable members, then also we meet at the start of Women's Month. We know that Women's Month is a very important month for this portfolio committee, for we know that women continue to bear the brunt of poverty, unemployment and violence. And to that end, I was quite pleased, and I'm sure all honourable members were quite pleased to see that the President has appointed the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, our very first National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. And we really, as this portfolio committee, want to wish this council well as it confronts our national disaster that is gender-based violence. Colleagues, this morning we will deal with our admin matters. I'm sorry that we have not been able to adopt all our outstanding minutes and reports, but you will recall that we took a resolution in one of the meetings as proposed by the Honourable Chauke Adonis that we should also focus on some of the resolutions from our minutes. So this morning we'll take some time to plan the rest of the year. We will start by looking at our third term program. We will then look at our fourth term draft framework. Ms. Abrams will take us through that. Then we will have to adopt our minutes and reports, reflect on our resolutions from those before we go to our constituency matters to get the feedback from the department and the NYDA on the issues you raised in the last meeting. And if there are any further pressing matters that you want to raise, that you will also be given an opportunity to do so this morning. So Ms. Silly, can you then flight for us, please, the third term program? I see the hand of a Zoom user. I don't know if there was a hand and it simply said Zoom user.
Sorry, Chairperson, apologies for interruption. My name is Teresa Chegi. I am the new member from the Patriotic Alliances. Thank you.
Good morning, Honourable Member, and we welcome you to this portfolio committee. We look forward to your contributions and your support as we continue to work towards protecting women, youth and persons with disabilities. So thank you very much, and we thank you for being here this morning. I also want to send my warm regards to our new acting DG, if she can also introduce herself, of our department.
Good morning, Chair. Yes, it's Dr. Sukraj Eli, and I've been acting from the 12th of July. It's 3 weeks now. Thank you.
Okay, I really hope it's been a good 3 weeks for you, Doc, in your new role. And,
quite busy. Thank you.
I can imagine. And we wish you well, and the Portfolio Committee looks forward to our engagements with you throughout this month. Ms. Ali, let's quickly go to our third term program. Colleagues, in front of you is our third term program. If we can just scroll down, today is our very first meeting. We will be dealing with our third term program as we discuss in our agenda, our fourth term focus areas or framework. We'll adopt our minutes and reports. We will be getting feedback on constituency matters. On the 11th of August, which is next week, we will do, we'll have an engagement with the CGE on their quarter one report. Later in that week, 13 and 14 August, Parliament will be hosting Women's Parliament, which will take place in Kimberley. That's on the 13th and 14th. On the 18th, we are asking the Minister to come and brief us on matters that have been in the public domain, but we have not been briefed on these matters, and so we will be giving her an opportunity to address some of the issues. Some of these issues have been the allegations of nepotism leveled against the department, a subsequent PSC investigation. She's made an announcement about a forensic audit into the NYDA matters, and of course, the establishment of the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, which has now taken place. We will also then deal with the Q4 and Q1 report. All of these meetings will be on Zoom, apart from the Women's Parliament taking place in Kimberley. On Wednesday, the 19th of August, I seek your guidance, honourable members. We are set to have a follow-up meeting on NYDA issues, in particular on the governance and leadership matters that were discussed in the last meeting. We've set aside the 19th of August. However, this meeting can no longer sit until 3 o'clock because chairpersons of committees have got a meeting starting at 1. And at 3, honourable members, you will participate in the oral questions to the governance cluster. So if this meeting is to sit, it can only sit from 9:30 till 1. So I seek your guidance as to whether you want to proceed with the meeting on Wednesday, 19 August, in terms of a follow-up with the NYDA, or whether you would want to allocate again a full day in the 4th term. Then on Friday, the 21st of August, we will be invited, honourable members, please take note that you will be invited to a briefing by the Department of Basic Education on the reply by the Minister of Basic Education to our joint interim report of the Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities, Social Development, Health and Basic Education on the statutory rape of girls. This meeting is set to take place at Parliament at M315, if I remember correctly. The week thereafter, we will have no meeting because if we adopt this program, you would have had 3 meetings in 1 week. Parliament then ends off this term, which is only for August, the 4 weeks, with a youth colloquium and expo also to be hosted at Parliament at the Good Hope Chamber. So I put this program to you, honourable members. If you do have any inputs, we will take them now. If you are happy, you can also indicate that. But in particular, I need to hear what members want to say on the NYDA meeting, whether you want to do a short follow-up meeting on that day from 9 till 1, or whether you would want to defer it to the 4th term. Honourable members? No bites? I see the hand of Honourable Chauke Adonis.
Thank you very much, Chair, and also the overview on the 3rd term program. In terms of my bite on the NYDA, perhaps we then should be also guided in terms of what exactly they would then be coming to brief us on. Apologies, to brief us on. For that duration of time, as you've indicated, is very limited, but one would also then support that proposal for it to be moved into the 4th term. And then in addition, Chairperson, I would like that, obviously taking into consideration that we're going to have a week where we're sitting in 3 meetings, perhaps the last week of Parliament, it's for us to invite organizations representing women across South Africa to come and give short presentations to the Portfolio Committee, along with some of the recommended interventions that they seek to see government making. I think that's quite important for us to create that particular platform for both civil society, private sector to come and present in this regard with the audience of the department, and where we can invite other relevant departments that would be able to also respond to what would then be presented by the various organizations. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you
That
very
I would
much.
then adopt.
Okay, thank you so much. The Honourable Chake Adonis has supported our third term program. Thank you also for the suggestion to meet with the various women's organizations. We will see how we factor that in. The meeting on the joint meeting arises, the joint follow-up meeting arises from the fact that in our last meeting, we said that we needed to do a follow-up with the NYDA before we meet with the AG and the NYDA on their annual reports. And that would simply be for us to get an indication on how far they've gone in terms of resolving some of the governance and leadership matters. You will recall at that meeting, we were informed of the court action of the chairperson against the Sunday Times. That court action has since been withdrawn. We've also been informed, although the minister has not formally given us any indication of such, but we were informed through the media that the minister is to institute a forensic audit into the NYDA. So those were some of the matters that we wanted to look into. Also, there was one other matter that we still needed to look at. We had a whistleblower complaint around the issues of the credibility of the programs. It was also an issue that was flagged in one of the media reports, but it emanated from a whistleblower complaint that was sent to us. So those were some of the issues that we wanted to look into in that meeting. But I think I will speak to the SCOPA chairperson and we will judge what we can do in those few hours and whether we possibly move it to another date. But we will look into it and we will report back to the committee. I see the hand of the Honourable Khadebe.
Chair, I tried to raise up my hand. This gadget does not allow me.
Okay, no problem. Let's take you, Honourable Khadebe, and then Honourable Polwane. Good morning, Honourable Polwane, as well, and Honourable Khadebe. I did greet you in the beginning.
Good morning, Chairperson, colleagues. Thank you very much. It's been long. I miss you.
We missed you too very much.
I'm getting better each and every day. I'm still recovering.
We are happy to hear that, Bongani.
Yes. Chairperson, I like to support Honorable Chauke. That can we move the joint meeting with the NYDA to the fourth term? I support that, please. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Actually, you see what we did in the last meeting, because there were those pressing matters, the issue of, for example, the Sunday Times court case, obviously the divisions in the board. All of those issues are the issues that we wanted to deal with before we meet on the annual reports and the AG. However, it might be prudent now that there's a forensic audit in the pipeline, that we wait for the AG to come and we look at the annual report and then we do the follow-up meeting. But we've now got two proposals for a postponement to the fourth term. Like I said, I will engage Honourable Zibi and then I will come back to members, because you can see that again, this is just a 4-week program, but yet there's almost meetings on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Mondays. So it's quite a lot for such a short third term. Thank you, colleagues. I'm now going to hand over to Ms. Abrams to take us, just to give you an impression. Oh, Honourable Polwane, I'm so sorry. Please proceed. I owe you a chocolate now. I owe you a chocolate.
No, thank
Just unmute yourself, Honourable Polwane.
You cannot hear me, Chair?
No, we can hear you now. Please proceed.
Okay. No, I'm saying good morning, everyone. Our department, NYDA, everyone in the platform. Let me join you, Chairperson, by welcoming the new member and everyone in the platform. Chair, I'm a little bit lost.
Honourable Polwane, we lost you. Yes?
Chair, I'm a little bit lost. You are saying all the meetings are on the Zoom, but I see the other one of the 19th. It shows that is physical. I just want to check that, But others, I'm covered by other members to support Honorable Chauke Adonis. I just want to check this one of the meeting of 19.
Thank you so much, Honorable Pulwane. Yes, in fact, what I'm trying to say is that we as a portfolio committee have scheduled all our meetings on Zoom, and that is to align with the parliamentary program, which dictates that even the National Assembly sittings will now be virtual, fully virtual until voting day. The only session that will be in person will be the MTBPS on the 21st of October. But even our National Assembly sittings, the questions to the President, questions to the Deputy President will be virtual. However, the SCOPA meeting, Honourable Zebi had scheduled that for an in-person meeting at Parliament. And then also the briefing on by the Department of Basic Education is an in-person meeting. Also then, of course, Women's Parliament, if members of this portfolio committee is to attend Women's Parliament, we will have to travel to Kimberley. I know, for example, Honourable Angel is part of the steering committee of the Women's Caucus, so she will have to travel. And then, of course, the youth colloquium, to which we will ask the Honourable Whip of our committee to represent us, will also be at Parliament at Good Hope Chamber. But the meetings that we as a portfolio committee will be scheduling for this term, the one with CGE, the one with our department, will be on the virtual platform. I hope that clarifies it. So it's only the addition of... Okay, thank you.
I'm covered here, yeah, so I don't have the issue.
Okay, thank you, Honourable Pulwane. We now hand over to Ms. Abrams to just discuss with us what we'll be doing in the fourth term.
Good morning, Chair and members and colleagues. I'll just wait for Yolanda to kindly share on screen the fourth term framework. Chairperson had indicated that it would be quite important for us to commence the third term, not only looking at what we need to do in the next 4 weeks, but also plan ahead as this year is coming to a close quite quickly. I'm just waiting for Yolanda to place the fourth term program on the screen, please. So as I've indicated, the particular meetings for the fourth term, which we thought it's important to discuss now in the third term to gain members' input and support, as well as commentary, and to look at how we can implement that. Up on the screen, members, we start off the fourth term. The fourth term is really around our BRR, the Budget Review and Recommendations Report. So the first meeting would be the presentation by the Auditor General, followed by meetings with the department, the CGE and the NYDA. At all of those respective meetings, we will also require the respective audit and risk committee meetings, and where relevant, the internal audits to present to the committee as well. That would take us to Tuesday, the 6th of October for the department, Friday, the 9th for the CGE, Tuesday, the 13th for the NYDA, and then the adoption of our BRR on Tuesday, the 20th of October. We are aware that the House Chairperson usually sends the thematic areas and focus and guidelines towards the end of the term, which gives us an indication as to when we need to schedule meetings in a particular time frame. So this is just draft. We thought it's so important to get buy-in from members. The 27th of October, that's to be confirmed. The 3rd of November is set up for special votes. Yolanda, we can go to the following page, please. 10th of November, we have a 1-year follow-up to the statutory rape investigation, as well as including the Human Rights Commission to brief the committee. I will talk to that in a moment. The 17th of November, we have a meeting looking at sanitary dignity, a year-end assessment. We've identified in this in our strategic plan and APP that sanitary dignity, that program that falls under our department, is a key focus area. So as we close off this year, we will look at inviting departments that were struggling, in particular that was Gauteng, to report to us how far they've come in implementing the Sanitary Dignity Program. Friday the 20th would then be that NYDA joint meeting with SCOPA as a follow-up, as members had proposed in the discussions on the third term. And then on Tuesday, the 1st of December, would be a disability colloquium. So to touch back on Tuesday, the 10th of November, members would recall that in 2025, this committee was tasked with the responsibility for leading and coordinating the statutory rape inquiry on a focus on the rape of young girls. We had done that in collaboration with the initial referral was for the Portfolio Committee on Social Development, Health, Basic Education, Police and Justice. Because Police and Justice were, and their members and their chairs were involved with the ad hoc committee, they were unable to provide support at the time, but they indicated they would take on activities in 2026. For the rest of the committees, we had engaged with the relevant department and stakeholders. We had a joint report, which was ATC'd by the deadline of 30th of November. Subsequently, members would recall that on the 5th of March, that report was debated in the House and adopted. Thereafter, the Speaker of the National Assembly then wrote to the relevant ministers, which was our Minister, Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities, Social Development, Basic Education and Health, and requested that there be a written report in terms of how far they've come implementing the recommendations contained in that report. As chairs indicated in our third term, on the 20th of August, PC Basic Education will have a meeting to look at input received from their minister on that joint report. Because to date, the Minister of Basic Education has been the only minister that has responded and tabled a response in terms of their progress for the joint report. We thought it prudent that a year down the line, we look at how far all of these departments of entities have come in implementing the recommendations. I've spoken to my colleagues in terms of all these committees to see how we could possibly do that in a coordinated manner. So there are one of two options, members. Option A, which is ideal, we have all the committees meet across Tuesday, the 10th of November and possibly the 11th in Good Hope Chamber, and we invite all the relevant departments. Each chair then co-chairs and leads his or her session around their departments. But that's to ensure that we have all the committees, all members in one space, and you're able to hear what feedback and progress has been made by each and every department. That's ideal, option A, if we have 2 days Good Hope Chamber with all committees. The option B would be similar to what we had done last year, given the challenges around coordinating and meeting in one space, whereby in our case, for the 10th of November, we have a meeting in which we invite our department, the CGE, and as well as the Human Rights Commission, to talk to how far they've come implementing the recommendations. But we also extend the invitation to all other committees to confer with us, to sit in on our meetings. And similarly, those respective committees would then also have their meetings, if we go for an option B, in which they invite us to be part of their meeting, but we hear from the relevant department and entity how far they've come. To date, I've spoken to PC on Police, my colleague. Their chairperson is quite keen on looking at a coordinated effort in that regard for November. They couldn't work with us last year because of the ad hoc committee commitments, but they did have an engagement in term 2. They're going to adopt that report now in the third term. So they are keen to look at doing something joint in November. The same applies to social development, and health. With basic education, even though they will have the minister come now in August, they would still be keen to look at doing some sort of joint initiative in November. And justice, I've spoken to my colleague and she said she'll liaise with and discuss the matter with her chairperson as well. So they're basically for the statutory rape, one of two options. Option A, 2 days, we get all the committees in group and sit together. Option B, each committee on its own still agree to 2 days in our ordinary meetings, have a specific focus, but invite your respective committees. In addition, members, what had come out strongly from the statutory rape inquiry is that it's not only about violence against girls and rape against girls, but the boy child is as important and in the broader context of GBV. So for our meeting, I would extend not only a focus on how far the Department, CG and Human Rights have come in implementing the recommendations from the joint interim report, but also look at the 4 pillars of the NSP and saying how far have we come since the inception of the NSP in giving effect to pillar 1, 2, 3, 4, as it also links to issues of statutory rape. So chairperson members, that's one aspect around the statutory rape. For the disability colloquium, it's been a focus area for the committee, which we identified at our strategic plan and APP, that we would have specific focus looking at key concerns for matters pertaining to disability. The intention is to have a disability colloquium, Good Hope Chamber on the 1st of December, and the theme would be around interrelations as well as inclusion. The focus areas would be 1, policy and law reform, in which we invite experts in the department to talk to us about the overarching policy law reform framework in terms of the white paper, treaty compliance, and the fact that we don't have a Disability Act at present. The 2 other focus areas would be around education and employment, in which we invite key experts to talk to the committee about what the key issues are. But in terms of the theme, which is interrelation and inclusion, it is not to look at specific issues around education. So, for example, the lack of teacher assistance in special schools for children, but it's to look more at broader matters in terms of the right to education and access for persons with disabilities, as well as the interrelation between education and the next focus area, which is employment. And again, broad issues of focus around employment. And the intention is for a 1-day disability colloquium, 3 focus areas. We have short presentations followed by panel discussions. Chairperson and members, so that covers our 4th term program, and it would be helpful to get members buy-in, inputs and support for both the follow-up to the statutory rape inquiry with a link to the GBV NSP 4 pillars, as well as the disability colloquium. Thank you, Chairperson and members. Oh, my apologies. I did not realize I was muted. I've been talking all this time. Chairperson, how far did I come before I muted myself?
I think we were.
In terms of the plan, we have a lot of activity that we require.
Chairperson?
Achieve
I think she's going to be joining back in, but we did not lose you at all. All the contents and everything that you had presented was loud and clear until the end, where you did indicate that that was all. So we did capture everything in this regard.
Thank you.
Yes. Members, we're just trying to check if the
you.
chairperson is back. Oh, there we go.
Thank you, Honourable Whip. Thank you so much. I don't know what happened. I just got kicked out. Probably connection issues. Thank you, Honourable Whip, for standing in. Thank you, Ms. Abrams, for tabling this draft fourth term focus. I think it helps honourable members to get a clearer picture of the outstanding issues that we must still deal with this year. Also, you can see now, colleagues, October will be a very busy month as we lead up to voting day. And then we'll go straight into those three important items, the follow-up on the sanitary dignity program, the issues around the 1-year anniversary of the report that we did around the statutory rape investigations, and then, of course, our very important disability colloquium. Of course, I agree with you, Ms. Abrams. It will be first prize for all of us if we could get together all of the portfolio committees over 2 days to deal with the follow-ups around the statutory rape inquiry. So we will work on that. And of course, if we're not able to achieve that, we will go to a plan B. Colleagues, that then is the draft fourth term focus. I don't know if you want to make any comments, whether you believe we've left anything out. Let me also greet Honourable Mchunu that has joined us, Honourable Shabango, and the Honourable Minister. Welcome, Honourable Minister. Is there anyone that would like to make any suggestions?
Yes, Chair.
Honourable Pulwane.
Yeah, good morning, Chair, and our Minister, everyone who join us later. Chair, I have some. I want to suggest something here. But firstly, let me welcome the fourth term program. But on the program, let me check something. I want to suggest that on October, we are going to be very busy with the election. So I want to suggest that the 20 and 27th physical meeting, if possible, let's make them the Zoom meeting, because we are going to be busy with the election. That's my suggestion, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Pulwane. I agree.
Maybe lastly, I don't have a problem with the meeting that is after the election, but the one that is before the election, especially 20 and 27.
Okay. No, that's fully agreed to. I just wanted to indicate the only reason why I had set aside the 20th for us to see each other in person was because on the 21st, we are all due to be in Cape Town for the MTBPS. But I think we will schedule it in such a way that all the meetings in October will be on Zoom, and then we will meet in person for those important engagements in November. Thank you, Honourable Pulwane. We'll make those adjustments.
Chairperson?
Honourable Chauke Aduanes.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and also on the presentation of the fourth term program. I think I also just would like to concur with Honorable Pulwane in terms of those particular dates, understanding the circumstances that would be operating under. Chairperson, I just wanted to find out, and I might have missed this, if you remember that there was a resolution that we took as a portfolio committee that we'd be revisiting one of the joint meetings that we had with the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities and our respective portfolios, basic education, higher education and labor. I'm not sure where we are currently with that, because we did indicate in the last meeting that we had with them that we'd be having a secondary meeting as we are unable to conclude and consolidate on anything. And I think that meeting was quite instrumental. And it's something that we cannot wait to sort of roll over into next year, because we did start with it, I think, in the beginning of the year. So perhaps if we can consider it and see how it can be fit into the fourth term program, after you have also consulted with the relevant portfolio committees that were involved as well. And then, Chairperson, in addition, I would like to support the first option, that Ms. Abrams had given to us in terms of the joint sitting. I think that would be more sustainable, more impactful, but also in terms of the coordination around it would make more sense. So it would be more feasible. So I would then request that perhaps we further engage with the chairpersons of all the respective portfolio committees for it to be coordinated by, yes, our portfolio committee, to convene all the respective portfolio committees that have been identified, so that we can have one joint sitting rather than having separate meetings, because that would mean we'd have to scatter ourselves, between different portfolio committee meetings, and then we find them clashing with each other on days in which they might have to sit. So I would really support option A, that we move with that. Other than that, I think, Chairperson, I am sufficiently satisfied with the fourth term program. And perhaps other issues would then have to come into the next year, first term program, especially issues that we have raised around how do we ensure that we hold all, government departments and institutions accountable? How do we bring them forward to come and report on issues and programs of women, youth, and persons with disabilities, their performance against the APP, their budget allocations, where they're having challenges, as part of us also providing support and assistance to our Department of Women, Youth, and Persons with Disabilities in acquiring more statistics and reports. But also we'd want to also find out from our department currently if they are still having any issues with any other department in terms of reporting, or receiving joy in receiving reports for them to then consolidate. Other than that, sorry, Chair, the last one, sorry, would be, I think the department would also have to come and brief us on outstanding legislation that they are currently working on, such as the Bill on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, the National Youth Development Bill, and other legislations that are currently outstanding. If we could receive a brief, I'm not sure if we could do that when they come and present in this third term or in the fourth term, just so that we can keep track of how far are we and how far we still need to go. Thank you very much, Chairperson. That is my input.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chauke Adonis. Okay, so I do think we can engage with the department. Well, we can, on outstanding legislation when we meet with them on the 18th, when they come for the quarter 4 and quarter 1 report. We can also engage them when they come and table the annual report as per this program on the 6th of October. We've then resolved, as per Honourable Pulwane's suggestion, a recommendation that all the meetings in October be on Zoom because of our heavy schedules during this month. We will implement that. We've all agreed that we want to go for option A in terms of the follow-up around the statutory rape inquiry, the interim report. So we will early enough engage with all the various chairpersons to see that we allocate 2 days and a venue. Of course, we will keep members of the portfolio committee updated in that regard. And then your request around the follow-up meeting with regard to labour, higher education and basic education. I know that the chairperson of basic education wanted to do a follow-up. I think it was in the second term. I think time ran away with her, but I will definitely make a follow-up, Honourable Chauke Adonis, so that we also schedule this for a Friday somewhere in November. And then you have now seen in terms of the fourth term program where we've allocated a Friday then for the follow-up in terms of the NYDA issues. So please, honourable members, keep this program with you, diarise it, so that we know well in advance then what we will be doing when. Colleagues, so then we are in support of the fourth term framework. Is there anything else that you want to add, Ms. Abrams?
Chair, I think maybe just to as we're doing constituency matters today, we just need to look at in our fourth term program as we close off the year 2026, an item for the constituency matters. And then I also looked at the dates, Chair. There's one more Tuesday, I think Tuesday the 24th of October. Yolanda, if you could go to the page 2. I don't think we've got a meeting scheduled for that day. So that's, yeah, we have Friday the 20th of November, but we don't have Tuesday the 24th of November. So that's possibly a spot for any other matter we haven't followed up with, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. We missed a Tuesday. Okay. Then that is helpful. We can add that Tuesday and then propose that to basic education for the follow-up meeting with themselves, higher education and labour. And then we can utilize a Friday for our constituency matters follow-ups. I think I'm now going to ask the NYDA and the CGE to table their responses to our constituency matters and then allow members to comment or to table new issues before we go to the adoption of our minutes and reports. I'm doing so because I'm mindful that a person like Honourable Kaula, who's with us, also needs to go to another meeting. So I think we will start with the department. I do not know acting DG, who will lead your responses. I have greeted the Honourable Minister, but I don't think Honourable Minister has to address us today on constituency matters. Acting DG, department.
Olga, audio unmuted.
Thank you, Chair. I want to find out, are we going to be giving our feedback in terms of the responses to the constituency matters after the first round of NYDA and CGE, and then we will do. You can have your responses, and then we'll go after you. It's fine.
Okay. Let me check CEO of the NYDA. Good morning, sir. Are you ready to give us some responses?
Good morning, Chairperson, Honourable Chairperson, and good morning to the honourable members. Yes, indeed, Chair. Myself and the team are ready to provide some of the responses to the constituency matters from an NYDA point of view.
Okay. If you can proceed, then we will take your responses. We will then go to the department afterwards and then ask members if there is any follow-ups or additional issues. So please proceed, CEO.
Okay. No, thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. I will just refer to the documents, specifically on the matters that were raised, constituency matters that were raised on the side of the NYDA. Would it be better if I try to flight, Chair?
If you could, CEO.
Just read through it, yeah. Okay.
That will be helpful. Thank you.
All right, Chair, let me do so. Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Honourable Chair, and to the honourable members. Honourable Chairperson, I think some of the first matters that related to constituency matters for response, required for response from the NYDA. First one was, of course, from Honourable Zodetsi, who had highlighted that in January he had visited the Kutwanong School of the Deaf in Rustenburg for a normal school readiness program. And of course, upon arrival, there were some important extracurricular activities that would have been noted. And of course, that a commitment had been made to convene a necessary stakeholders roundtable to discuss and contribute to supporting the extracurricular activities and the work that the school had been doing. And of course, that a program of action with timelines was developed at the time, and that scheduling of a broader meeting with stakeholders would take stock of that particular progress. From a response from the NYDA point of view, Honourable Chairperson, is that, of course, indeed, the intervention required by the NYDA in the Northwest Province regarding the provision of youth development services at the Kutlwanong School of the Deaf. We have already established those relations, Chair, with the school itself to provide youth development programs for young persons with disabilities. In August of 2025 already, the NYDA branch in Rustenburg had a meeting with the school, specifically Mr. Masilo, and from that meeting, it was agreed that the school will provide the center with a list of all of their past learners who had provided them with their technical skills so that the center can assist them with entrepreneurial interventions such as the business management training, the grants program, the life skills training, job preparedness workshops, and related job placement workshops as well. The list was indeed received, Honorable Chairperson, and unfortunately we've not been able to get a hold of everyone on the list after trying to make contact with them through WhatsApps and understanding that, of course, they might be deaf, of course, and follow-ups this year in 2026 have been followed up to assist with the programs, and some have advised that they were now over the age of 35 years old, whilst others have moved from that specific region in Rustenburg from a migration point of view. And of course, the center continues to make those efforts to work with the school to establish if they do not have any updated contact lists of the other beneficiaries that we were unable to get a hold of. But of course, even with some of the matriculants, Chair, that are graduating from that school for that connection from a pathways point of view to work closely with the NYDA Rustenburg Center. And so that is the latest on that specific item raised by Honorable Tsotetse. The Honourable Chairperson, the other constituency matter for response was from Honourable Adams, really inquiring around what measures are in place to ensure the access to sanitary dignity products for schoolgirls and vulnerable women in Douglas. School visiting reports that schools are not receiving sanitary dignity packs. What is the monitoring measure regarding the distribution of such programs at the school level? From an NYDA point of view, Chair, measures to service such needs are indeed done on request through the National Youth Service Incubator Program, which has a network of NPOs whom we support and in turn provide support directly to the affected women in vulnerable communities. We further provide sanitary dignity packs through the various National Youth Service outreach activities in remote and underserviced areas, including rural schools, which is part of the NYDA's board pack to the annual back to school program. However, the NYDA doesn't have dedicated budget program on distribution of sanitary towels to vulnerable women. And so the NYDA through the NYS unit will visit the identified Douglas community to look into how best to address the identified challenge of providing the sanitary dignity packs to the identified vulnerable women as part of the Women's Month NYS activities, which is the month that we're currently in, Honourable Chair. Of course, our distribution approach and monitoring is that all schools are required to sign and stamp the itemized receipt of the distributed dignity packs and or sanitary towels as a monitoring measure. The schools will provide a dated letter on the school letterhead to acknowledge the received items from a performance monitoring and evaluation point of view. Then, of course, Honourable Chair, there was another item that was raised in Sianguma, whereby no woman benefited from economic empowerment initiatives, be it training, funding, or cooperatives in the past 12 months. How can, of course, the department assist in this regard? And another issue around the high youth unemployment and, of course, the partnerships that exist between government and the private sector to create local opportunities for young people. And, of course, from the NYDA's perspective, Chair, with regards to these matters, that of course these matters are indeed acknowledged as a great area of concern, which reported that a lack of women beneficiaries when it comes to economic empowerment initiatives in Sianguma of the past 12 months. However, the NYDA had already conducted business management training and outreach with the municipality in the Northern Cape and the Department of Economic Development and Tourism, and of course the South African Social Security, or SASSA in this instance. The NYDA's program, Chair, are indeed demand-driven and accessible to all qualifying young people, including young women through an open application process. Beneficiary numbers in particular, in the particular municipality, are influenced by factors such as the number of applications received, the eligibility of applicants, and the availability of funding. To improve access to women in Sianguma, the NYDA will strengthen stakeholder engagement with the Sianguma local municipality, the Northern Cape Provincial Government, and community-based organizations, and women's groups to increase awareness of available programs. The agency will also conduct targeted outreach in this quarter for entrepreneurship awareness campaigns, business development support, capacity building initiatives aimed at encouraging more young women to qualify for grant funding and business support services and skills development opportunities, amongst others. The NYDA does remain committed to promoting inclusive economic participation and will continue to monitor the program uptake to ensure greater participation by women and other underrepresented groups. Of course, from, I think, the issue that was raised around high youth unemployment, and of course in the area as well. The NYDA does, of course, recognize this as a significant issue, which, of course, the orientation of the agency shifting towards enabling environment in being able to address those issues. And so to address the challenge, the agency does collaborate with national, provincial, and local government departments, including the private sector and the TVET colleges as well, and higher education institutions, development finance institutions, civil society organizations as well. These partnerships are intended to support the implementation of entrepreneurship development, business grant funding, skills development, work readiness programs, job preparation initiatives, digital skills training, and employment placement opportunities. And of course, these partnerships have enabled the delivery of these specific programs as well. And the specific impact in Sianguma will depend on the program uptake, of course, and the participation of eligible youth. And so the NYDA will continue to expand these partnerships in the municipality with all the partners that are on board to, of course, drive a greater increase in terms of employment opportunities, enterprise development support, and youth-focused economic initiatives. And of course, the tracking of this particular work will be provided and reported on as well. Then, Honourable Chairperson, the other constituency matter raised by Honourable Chauke Adonis did, of course, relate to township and rural areas, and of course around safety and security remaining a pressing issue, elevating the issues around the urgent need for increased number of police vehicles to ensure increased visibility and response times. Of course, this would significantly enhance considerations around service delivery and, of course, critical issues around street lights and that are functional and operational. But the other component was, of course, the economic beneficiation and inclusion remaining a major concern, particularly for largely rural nature of Honourable Chauke Adonis's constituency in this item. And of course, from an NYDA point of view and the Department of Women, Youth and Persons Disabilities point of view, and other government departments, is, of course, implementing coordinated interventions to address economic exclusion, unemployment, and related social challenges affecting rural communities. This, of course, Chair, can be found in the recently developed, approved, and launched NYDA Rural Development Strategy, which was recently launched in Komazi in Mpumalanga. And such interventions then focus on economic empowerment, skills development, and inclusive growth. The department and the NYDA support entrepreneurship, access to funding, business development services and training programs, and participation in public procurement, including a dedicated 11.5 million rand allocation to support enterprise development for persons with disabilities as a key measure to addressing this specific issue. The NYDA does provide this training, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members, which also includes market access opportunities through the market linkage program to enhance the sustainability and growth of small and emerging enterprises, particularly youth-owned businesses. Importantly, the NYDA does have a strong rural footprint, with more than half of its branches located in township and rural areas, ensuring that services are brought to communities that are often underserviced and geographically isolated due to the history and the geographical structure of South African communities broadly. And so this, of course, is a reinforcing commitment from the NYDA to play its part in improving access to these opportunities, specifically in rural municipalities where we do see the greatest impact, even from a job growth point of view. Through preferential procurement and supply development initiatives, the NYDA continues to expand this economic participation. Even currently, Chair, we are engaged in policy review discussions with the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition and the B Commission, which really is looking at considerations around the preferential procurement and BBE review so as to expand economic participation for women, youth and disability-owned businesses, contributing to, of course, the inclusive economic development, which I think is an important lobby effort that the agency is currently engaged in, which we think will make a significant difference in driving greater economic participation for young women, more especially in rural areas. In response to broader social challenges such as substance abuse, crime, gender-based violence, the department and the NYDA, in collaboration with our partners, we are strengthening prevention programs, psychosocial support services, youth development initiatives, and community safety awareness programs to promote safer communities. And this is done throughout the outreach work that the agency drives together with the department, and of course the work that is done on Thursdays through the Panda Thursday intervention as well. A strong emphasis is indeed placed on mainstreaming disability inclusion across all government programs, ensuring equitable access to funding, training, employment, and economic opportunities. And this, Chair, we see it with some of the programs. Once we've seen some of the impact, some of the mining companies that are located in rural areas focusing on supporting young persons with disabilities and seeing the impact that is delivered through that joint drive. But of course, a recent launch in the NYDA specifically for young persons with disabilities or persons with disabilities in the NYDA to really drive greater inclusion in terms of the NYDA's own policies, but also how it undertakes its outreach work to ensure greater inclusion for persons with disabilities. And of course, our commitment is unwavering together with the department in, of course, ensuring that the expanded opportunities are provided to rural communities, youth and women and persons with disabilities, and the fact that they should be fully integrated into economic participation and development opportunities. Honourable Chair, the other constituency matter related to ones that was raised by Honourable Kanyile, specifically in relation to a long-term plan by the NYDA accessing rural areas in Mpumalanga and access to mobile offices. And the response there, Chair, from an NYDA perspective was one of the interventions in hearing that specific constituency matter and responding to it was through the launch of the Panda Thursday initiative in Sekunda, Mpumalanga, as part of its continued effort to promote positive youth development and address the growing social challenges affecting young people. The program is aimed at creating a one-stop shop, service delivery platform through partnerships with various government departments and stakeholders, enabling young people to access a wide range of essential services in one place. The initiative specifically seeks to contribute towards the reduction of substance abuse and discourage involvement in activities that negatively impact the well-being and future prospects of young people. Through Panda Thursday, the NYDA does aim to create safe, inclusive, and empowering spaces where young people can access youth development information, career and entrepreneurship guidance, sports and recreational activities, motivational and educational sessions, mental health and wellness support, substance abuse and awareness programs, and of course, opportunities for civic and community participation. This initiative will be implemented in collaboration with local stakeholders, including government departments, municipalities, and the community organizations, law enforcement agencies, health practitioners, and youth formations to ensure a coordinated and impactful response to social issues facing young people with communities, and specifically in areas where NYDA does not have a physical office. This is an intervention to be able to drive that work. Where possible, the NYDA will of course establish a satellite service points in partnership with stakeholders, supported by mobile office services to improve access for young people in rural and underserved areas. And of course, we believe that such an initiative such as Panda Thursday are critical in restoring hope and promoting responsible citizenship and empowering young people to make positive life choices that contribute towards safer, healthier, and more resilient communities across all 9 provinces. The other constituency matter, Honourable Chair, was from Honourable Mbigo, which of course elevated the issue around the South African male whose person with disability, Mr. Kondile, being unemployed and holds various academic training and academic certificates, is requesting the committee to assist him and other people with disabilities to get jobs and funding to start businesses. And so the NYDA will, of course, engage Mr. Kondile to obtain the details and further information regarding his qualifications, skills, and areas of interest. This is important because when he's on the jobs database, he's able to gain access to the opportunities that the NYDA is able to facilitate for them, and of course through the grant funding and skills development programs of the NYDA to increase his upward social mobility. This, of course, will enable the agency to assess the appropriate interventions in this regard as it relates to all of the programs that are conducted by the agency. And of course, exploring a collaboration with organizations supporting persons with disabilities, which we've actually recently done, Chair. Over the past week, we've signed an MOU with Disability Youth South Africa, and part of it is to, one, increase their employability in terms of the jobs programs, and of course, even with opportunities within the NYDA itself and its partners, and of course, the support that they can get through NYDA services as well. So there are those young people that will be benefiting through that structured engagement, such as Kondile in this instance, Chair. The second matter was tabled as well, related as well to, of course, persons with disability. She requested assistance with a walking stick. And of course, we have acknowledged that particular matter that has been tabled, Chair, requesting assistance. The NYDA will engage Ms. Ramwana to obtain her contact details as well to further assess the needs. The matter will subsequently be referred to the NYDA sponsorship program for consideration and possible assistance subject to the applicable processes and availability of support through that specific intervention. And of course, just reaffirming the agency's commitment to supporting vulnerable groups, including persons with disabilities, through programs and partnerships aimed at improving their well-being as well. Honourable Chairperson, those were the specific constituency matters on the side of the NYDA for response and, of course, for consideration of the committee as well. Thank you so much, Honourable Chair.
Thank you very much, CEO, and I would really like to take this opportunity to thank you for the seriousness with which you dealt with members' issues that they've raised and the comprehensive responses that you sent in time. I'm sure members would want to raise additional issues, but I'm first going to allow the acting DG of our department to table their responses. And then, honourable members, I hope you are ready to table your follow-up issues. Over to you.
Thank you.
Acting DG.
Thank you, Chair. We've got our responses, and I think all our different programs, the women, youth, and disability programs have contributed to our responses. But I'm going to ask DGG Shoki to please take members through the responses, and thereafter we will ask the different managers to add to any of the responses that they deem necessary after DGG Shoki has gone through the responses to the questions. Thank you, Chair. Bongi, I'm going to ask you to please flight, and DGG Shoki, if you could please go through the responses. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning to all the members of the Portfolio Committee, my fellow colleagues, and those that are viewing the proceedings. I will certainly go through the responses as provided by the department. However, I also would like at the end to raise some of the challenges that we experienced and try and also make some suggestions, but it's for members to guide whether that is in order or not. The first question relates to Honorable Letlape. Bongi, may I ask that you enlarge it a bit? It says the issue is about welfare of people with mental disabilities. Thank you. That's quite okay now. Thank you. Much appreciated. The welfare of people with mental disabilities and their access to care. And the responses is that the department monitors the implementation of the white paper on the rights of persons with disabilities, and it works with departments to strengthen disability inclusion through annual reporting, implementation, monitoring, and interdepartmental coordination. This includes advocating for equitable access to health services for persons with psychosocial disabilities, the provision of mental health services, treatment thereof, facilities and staffing falls within the mandate of the Department of Health, and detailed operational questions, we propose that they should therefore be directed to that department because those are the core departments. It is within their mandate, whilst the department is dealing with the strategic posture of coordinating, monitoring, evaluation, research matters, and all of that. When it comes to Honorable Peterson's question, the fact that under-resourced satellite stations are failing victims of GBV, especially rape survivors, through delays being turned away or being redirected at night. In my constituency, residents are being failed by a clinic that is not operating on a 24-hour basis and repeatedly runs out of essential medication. And the slow police response time and low visible policing, nothing is sadder than knowing, laying in bed at night, knowing gunshots, hearing gunshots, doesn't even scare our communities anymore. Instead, we now wonder who of our brothers or sisters got hurt. The response is that the department is monitoring the GBVF service delivery gaps through the National Strategic Plan reporting and through NetJoins, the GBVF Priority Committee, and within the work that is already classified in the action plan. But however, we are requesting and pleading that the police station resourcing and case handling remain SAPS responsibilities. So we will make some of the suggestions and recommendations when I wrap up as well. Honorable Tsotetsi, in terms of your questions, you raised an issue around the school visited in Kutlwanong, which is Kutlwanong School for the Deaf in Rustenburg, that on your arrival, you noticed that the school ran short of important extracurricular activities, and the management expressed their desire to be supported in the areas as listed below. Now, our response was that the department has completed a national study on access to education, support and services for children and young people with disabilities in South Africa. And the department is working with the Department of Basic Education to strengthen implementation of its recommendations. The Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation has actually conducted a monitoring visit to Kutlwanong School for the Deaf. Responsibility for school infrastructure, learner support services, educator provision, and implementation of improvement plans rests squarely with the Department of Basic Education and the relevant provincial education department, and detailed progress should therefore be provided by those departments. We can go to the next part. Honorable Adams, the question related to what measures are in place to ensure access to sanitary dignity products, particularly for schoolgirls and vulnerable women in Douglas. School visiting reports that schools are not receiving sanitary dignity pads. What is the monitoring measure regarding the distribution of the programs at school level? In Sianguma, no women benefited from the economic empowerment initiatives. Regarding high unemployment in youth, what partnerships exist between government and private sector? GBV and vulnerable house are not getting assistance when it comes to any related issues. What programs are in place to support victims of GBV and vulnerable households? And lastly, persons with disability are being accommodated at workplaces, but no policy exists when they need to be assisted, when they launch cases against the owner or manager. What enforcement measures ensure employment equity for persons with disabilities in local businesses? It could be true that some schools have not received sanitary pads in Douglas, Northern Cape, because the Department of Education has been performing poorly in the distribution, and they are the implementing department members. We do our monitoring role, we do our recommendations on what areas to improve. As a result, the department dispatched a team to monitor and to get to the bottom of the problems in the province itself. Subsequently, a 2-day workshop, which was held on the 1st and 2nd of July in 2026, comprised representation from the department, from National Treasury, including Provincial Treasury, Office of the Premier, Department of Education, Social Development, Health, and supply chain management practitioners of the Department of Education. They came up with tangible proposals of what must happen. This is actually in relation to strengthening the Provincial Sanitary Dignity Committee to ensure better coordination, monitoring, and evaluation, better planning and targeting to ensure better outputs and outcomes, because we indicated to them that if they plan in advance prior to the beginning of the financial year, have their own plans aligned to their supply chain processes, they will be in a position to ensure that they spend in time, they spend all that has been allocated, and they distribute accordingly. Better use of resources, especially the budget, so that actual reach can be clearly determined as well as existing gaps, but also finalization of the current procurement contract. Transportation of sanitary pads that are stuck in the storage and ensure that they distribute them to relevant beneficiaries. Although the department does not directly administer business funding, it can assist Sianquma merely by coordinating with the municipality, the Northern Cape Provincial Government and Economic Development Institution to ensure that they are linked to they link eligible women to funding, to training, cooperative development, and market access programs. Nationally, the department will work with offices of the Premier and municipalities to identify similar gaps, to strengthen sex disaggregated beneficiary reporting, and promote women's inclusion in local economic development, particularly in line with NSP 5. I need to indicate that with Northern Cape, this is the one province, Chairperson, that we invited amongst all other provinces for the trade fair that just took place when we launched Women's Month in KZN, and they could not attend. So it's another area that we will follow up, because that is another effort that seeks to ensure that the persons who are affected, women, youth, and persons with disabilities, are exposed to such trade fairs, that they are assisted when it comes to trading with government and probably even private sector and all of that. So we have earmarked that, and we will prioritize a follow-up and see how best we assist them, because this is going to be an annual program that seeks to empower women, youth, and persons with disabilities. The department continues to forge partnerships with private sector with the purpose of creating job opportunities. Recently, the department has entered into a formal partnership through the signing of a memorandum of understanding with the following entities. That is Transnet, Water, Energy SETA, Airports Company South Africa, South African National Defence Force, Institute of Building Inspectors, amongst others, to create opportunities for youth. And there are many institutions that are engaged by the department on an ad hoc basis for such partnerships. The current financial year, the department has planned 2 roundtables purely to discuss the commitment of the private sector on job creation program. The roundtable will target CEOs, captains of industry, to outline their plans on job creation. The roundtable will culminate into a job summit aimed at forging lasting partnerships with private sector on job creation. The department is supporting the implementation of government's commitment to progressively increase the representation of persons with disabilities in the public service to 7% by 2030 through policy guidelines and intergovernmental coordination. To support implementation, the Department of Public Service and Administration actually issued a circular 19 of 2026, progressive realization of the employment of persons with disabilities in the public service, whilst DWYPWD developed the practice note on the progressive realization of the employment of persons with disabilities in the public service. While DWYPWD has also engaged the Department of Employment and Labour on alignment of employment targets. The department, I've lost my trail, apologies for that as you moved. Pardon me for that. The whole idea was around the issue of alignment, and Labour continues to advocate for a 3% employment target under the Employment Equity Framework. Compliance with the Employment Equity Act and enforcement of employment equity measures in the private sector remain the responsibility of the Department of Employment and Labour. DSD provides victim empowerment program, GBV command center, shelters, white door centers, Kuseleka, one-stop centers, offering emergency accommodation, counseling, psychosocial support, referrals to social assistance. DSD, SAPS, provides victim-friendly rooms assistance with protection orders and specialized investigations through the Family Violence, Child Protection and Sexual Offences units. And SAPS, Victim Empowerment Service. Health provides post-rape care through designated health facilities and Tutuzela care centers, including forensic examinations, HIV post-exposure prophylaxis, treatment for sexuality transmitted infections, emergency contraception, counseling and referrals. Department of Health guidance. The NPA, through its Sexual Offences and Community Affairs Unit, leads the Tutuzela Care Centers model and prosecutes sexual offences cases. It provides prosecutorial guidance with victim assistance, court preparation, as well as case tracking. Working with SAPS Health and DSD to reduce secondary victimization, Sexual Offences Services and the department monitors the accessibility as well as coordination of these services under the NSP Pillar 4 and raises identified services gaps through relevant GBV coordination structures. From Honorable Shabangu, recently the department developed the Gender Youth, which is a GOD framework. How can the framework help the youth and disabled persons who are gathering with nothing to do, which is a phenomenon that she witnesses in her constituency? And we say the framework seeks to coordinate all the three sectors to ensure integrated service delivery. However, each sector has planned targets for mainstreaming women, youth, and persons with disabilities within the economy through various programmatic interventions, and that is clearly depicted even in the APP of the department. But what we are also committing is that we will be convening those GOD frameworks in the next quarter and make sure that at the end of the day, we continue on an ongoing basis to convene such. And Mr. Honorable Polwani, as we all know, GBV is a national crisis, confirmed by the president. Underage child was raped by his uncle. Mother, when she tried to report the case, decided to be on the side of the perpetrator, which is the uncle. In Ward 26, there's a woman who, she's mentally unstable. She has 9 kids, no birth certificate, unable to access government grants. Mother doesn't have an ID document. We have 4 cases of disabilities without ID, different families, most of them affected children. The circumstances described, they highlight the need for a coordinated survivor-centered response. The department monitors protection and support services under NSP 3 and 4 and raises these systemic gaps through NetJoins, which is leading the GBVF Priority Committee, established following the classification of GBVF as a national disaster. And it's supported by SAPS, NPA, DSD. They remain responsible for the investigation, for the prosecution, and immediate support. However, the department monitors barriers affecting vulnerable women's access to government services, identity documents, grants, and psychosocial support. They actually fall within Home Affairs, SASSA, and DSD, respectively. Those are the things we would like to deal with and recommend when we finalize, make conclusion on the way forward. The responsibility for issuing identity rests with the Department of Home Affairs, whilst disability grants are actually administered by SASSA. And the specific cases should therefore be referred to the relevant lead departments for intervention. We can proceed. Honorable Chauke, in many of the townships and rural areas, concerns around safety and security remain a pressing issue. Community members have raised the need for increased number of police vehicles to ensure improved visibility and response times. This will significantly enhance service delivery and restore confidence in law enforcement within the communities. Additionally, the functionality and operational of street lights is another area of concern. Secondly, the issue of economic beneficiation and inclusion remains a major concern due to the largely rural nature of the constituency. There is a persistent exclusion of local communities, particularly persons with disabilities, from meaningful economic participation, and such exclusion contributes to broader social challenges, including substance abuse, criminal activities, high rates of GBV. There is a need for targeted interventions that promote inclusive economic opportunities and sustainable livelihoods. How is the department and other departments addressing such issues? How has the department addressed the issue of spatial planning when municipal land is being auctioned, understanding there is greater need for housing for women, youth, and persons with disabilities? These are some of the responses. The department does provide targeted interventions that promote inclusive economic opportunities and sustainable livelihoods. It is not clear which province or area is referred to. The Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities, through the National Youth Policy 2030, continue to advocate for inclusion of vulnerable groups and youth, in particular, to the mainstream economy. And it calls for 30% set aside for youth employment and procurement opportunities. Furthermore, 50% for young women and 7% for youth with disabilities. Departments and other stakeholders have been gradually responding to the policy interventions. It is attested through mainstreaming and integration of the intervention on the following strategic documents: preferential procurement policy from National Treasury and various youth strategies and targeted programs, including the establishment of youth funds by numerous provincial offices of the premiers. There is currently more than 50% inclusion of youth in the expanded public works program. The National Youth Development Agency Employment Plan for 2025-2030 is focused on accelerating youth economic participation through a combination of job placement, entrepreneurship, and support, as well as skills development. And when you go further to the next one, it says programs implemented, amongst others, included Job Preparedness and Placement Program, National Youth Service, Entrepreneurship and Grant Funding, Business Support and Program, Skills Development Support Program, the Business Support Program, 4IR Youth Skills and Employment Initiative. Interventions to increase economic participation of youth. The department will contribute to youth economic participation through a coordinated package of 2 targeted interventions, that is in 2026-27. And these interventions are actually designed to address structural barriers that limit young people's access to the mainstream economy, while simultaneously equipping them with the skills, resources, and opportunities required to thrive in a rapidly changing labor market. The interventions are intended to strengthen pathways into employment, entrepreneurship, and skills development, ensuring that youth are not only beneficiaries of economic growth, but contributors thereof. Scroll up. The department is working in collaboration with National Treasury on the development of a practice note on disability inclusive public procurement to support the President's commitment that 7% of public procurement expenditure should benefit businesses owned by persons with disabilities by 2030. To inform this work, the department convened a national consultative workshop on the 22nd and 23rd July 2026 with national and provincial government departments, including offices of the Premier and organizations of persons with disabilities, in order to develop practical implementation measures. Implementation of procurement policies and procurement processes remain the responsibility of National Treasury, as well as those institutions that are responsible for procuring. Some of the additions that we have made: DWYPWD promotes women's economic power under NSP Pillar 5 and monitors GBV responsive inclusion across government programs. Programs implementation rests with the relevant economic sector departments and municipalities. The department advocates for gender responsive spatial planning and monitors women's inclusion in land and housing programs. Delivery remains the responsibility of DALRAT, human settlements, and municipalities working in partnership with DCOG. The department monitors statutory rape prevention and accountability commitments through the NSP reporting and GBVF coordination structures. Each responsible department must report on recommendations that are assigned to that particular department. National disaster monitoring identifies justice delays, inadequate protection, fragmented coordination, and weak accountability as persistent gaps. The department escalates systemic blockages through net joins and through IMC, while case-specific docket responses, they remain SAPS, NPA, and DOJ specific responsibility. The department monitors implementation of the GBV legislative package and victim-centered justice commitments under Pillar 3. Monitoring continues to identify protection and justice delays, while bail and case decisions remain within the court's SAPS and the purview of the NPA. Through annual monitoring of the implementation of the White Paper of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, the WPRPD Evaluation Improvement Plan, and the National Study on Access, Education, Support and Services for Children and Young Persons, People with Disabilities, the department works with the Department of Basic Education to strengthen inclusive education and address systemic barriers that are experienced by learners with disabilities. Responsibility for education policy implementation for learner support services and school operations rests squarely with the Department of Basic Education and provincial education departments. The other one was by Member Honorable Kanyile. Response to land application request for women with disabilities sent to previous DG in January 2025. List of Mpumalanga schools, names, Hertsibande district benefiting through the SDIP. Long-term plan by NYDA accessing rural areas in Mpumalanga access to mobile services. The department advocates for equitable access to government programs by persons with disabilities and engages departments where disability-related barriers are identified. However, land administration and allocation, they fall within the mandate of the Department of Land, Reform, Rural Development. The status of the application should therefore be provided by the lead department. The NYDA remains committed to improving access to youth development services for young people in rural, remote and undeserved communities across Mpumalanga. The agency recognizes that the province's vast geographic spread, limited transport infrastructure, long travel distances and associated costs, they may create barriers for young people who are seeking support. Therefore, the NYDA currently has a footprint in Mpumalanga through the following service points, and we've listed them from Wheatbank to Secunda to Mbombela, Ntlazeni district. Through these service points, NYDA provides access to grant funding, business development support, skills development, career guidance, and other youth empowerment programs. Furthermore, the NYDA continues to implement a blended service delivery model that combines fixed offices, rural outreach programs, mobile services, and digital platforms to improve accessibility. The agency's long-term approach includes expanding mobile offices and outreach services to bring NYDA programs closer to communities where establishing permanent offices may not currently be feasible, strengthening existing rural service points, and assessing areas requiring additional support based on a youth population demand and accessibility. Partnering with municipalities, traditional leaders, and community structures to identify accessible service locations. Conducting targeted outreach programs to assist young people with grant applications, entrepreneurship support, career guidance, and skills development. Enhancing digital platforms while recognizing the continued importance of face-to-face services in areas affected by connectivity challenges. Please scroll up. The NYDA therefore acknowledges that many rural communities in Mpumalanga experience infrastructure challenges, including limited public transport, poor road networks, and significant distances between villages and economic centers. Mobile offices and community-based outreach therefore provide a practical and a cost-effective mechanism to expand access while ensuring responsible use of resources. The agency remains committed to ensuring equitable access to youth development opportunities across all 3 districts of Mpumalanga as listed, making sure that the geographical location is not affected and they access NYDA programs and support. Honorable Mbiko tabled the first matter on behalf of Mr. Mtunzeli Kondile, a South African male who is living with disabilities. Mr. Kondile is unemployed and holds various academic training certificates and is requesting the committee to assist and other people with disabilities to get jobs and funding to start businesses. The second matter was tabled on behalf of Nomawabo Ramnwana. Ms. Ramnwana is living with a disability. She requests to be assisted with a walking stick. Honorable Mbiko also raised concerns about a number of elderly women from a constituency who are victims of rape. It is alleged that perpetrators are mostly young men and boys. Honorable Mbiko is calling for an urgent intervention on the matter. Honorable Mbiko brought a matter of Ms. Nontlokhonyana Ketamile, and other elderly women from Nkagaka AA Dutwa in the Eastern Cape province for help. The Department of Health is responsible for the distribution of assistive devices, including the walking sticks and other supporting devices. What we need to do is to get the details, the contacts and everything of these persons so that they can be facilitated through the Department of Health, or these matters be referred directly to the responsible department in line with their mandate. The department coordinates prevention and survivor support monitoring under NSP Pillar 2 and 4, including the protection of older women, investigation and prosecution fall within SEPS and NPA, and survivor support falls within DSD. The department advocates for women's equitable access to land and monitors gender-related barriers. The Commission on Restitution of Land Rights must provide the status of the claims and settlement payments. The department's provincial monitoring tracks service access barriers affecting vulnerable women, including failed referrals between institutions. Home Affairs and SASSA must provide the identity record and grant status, respectively. We can go to Honorable Khadebe, Sakile Flats Extension 8, Lekwa Municipality. Urgent intervention is required for housing and basic services. Since 2016, approximately 200 residents have been accommodated in Sakile Flats with the expectation of receiving formal RDP houses, and to date, only 4 houses have been constructed. Current challenges including water access, health and safety hazards, poor living conditions as stipulated. The response is then, housing adaptations fall within the mandate of the Department of Human Settlement, while the provision of wheelchairs and other assistive devices is the responsibility of the Department of Health. Detailed operational questions should therefore be directed to the relevant lead departments as a recommendation. We can move to the next one. Honorable Mkhunu, the crisis Thandeka Ndlovu, a 22-year-old university disabled student at Emolweni, a rural area of Durban, KZN, is trapped in a cycle of neglect. Her home is inaccessible, it's steep, unpaved terrain, and it makes movement impossible during rain and forcing her to miss classes. The outdated wheelchair she uses is unfit for the environment. In a nutshell, no assistance has arrived since attempts to ask for help has been given. The crisis, I'm raising an urgent alarm over South Africa's escalating GBV crisis, exemplified by the Mapepeni Inanda tragedy. A 17-year-old girl, Atam Tembu, was kidnapped, raped, drugged, and died after trauma-induced suicide. The accused remained free despite the crime being reported. And in Inanda Police Station, KZN, the shameful inaction exposes systematic failures in the criminal justice system, and it betrays vulnerable women and children. Minister of Police launched a national task team to fast-track GBV arrest prosecutions, deploy senior SAPS officials to oversee the Inanda case. I think it's a recommendation. The National Disaster Monitoring confirms that justice delays and inadequate victim protection remain persistent GBVF gaps. The department escalates such systematic accountability concerns through net joins and IMC to the relevant departments, whilst SAPS and NPA should provide the verified case status, because if it has been reported to the police station and if we have the case number, it's easy to track, it's easy to follow through, and it's easy to forward to the relevant managers to make sure that they track these cases and they give feedback. The department monitors justice system failure where missing person cases indicate possible GBVF and escalates such gaps under Pillar 3, and SAPS remains responsible for such investigations and formal case status responses. The provision of assistive devices and wheelchairs, as explained earlier on, is the responsibility of the Department of Health, but also the accessible housing adaptations is also the responsible part of the Human Settlement Department. We can move to the next one. We're almost there. Honorable Kaula, Bright Eyes Early Childhood Development Center, ECD, Beria, good morning, Chairperson and Honorable Nazindawo. Ngifuna senze oversight Gizo KZN Durban Abalindi Home Inanda Newtown. A people live with disabilities. A61 here, Alexander Street. Here people are living with defense disability. Some of them are blind. Thanks ngojabula kakhulu ngalama oversight. Nasemasgrave uyazi Chairperson. Saya naye so by two, all of us gather 4 places, 2 in Nanda and 2 Durban, aseduzane each other's those places. We can, I think she's simply saying they've been there and they can continue to do this oversight work and they appreciate this oversight work. Now we are saying the responsibility for the management, regulation and oversight of residential care facilities for persons with disabilities rests with the relevant provincial Department of Social Development. Detailed operational information should therefore be provided by the Provincial Department of Social Development. Let me check if we are done so that I can then, Chairperson, I really wish to indicate that we understand what the portfolio committee members are experiencing in their constituencies, and we would really like to assist where we can. We are appealing and indicating that the referrals, they lack specifics in terms of, in some instances, the name, the address, so that there's proper follow-up or there is proper referral. But in this instance, some of the referrals or issues mentioned here are a little bit vague and a bit difficult for the department to then say, we will follow up specifically on that one. We are also further making recommendations, Chairperson, that where possible, the issues, if they can be categorized, those that are under the Department of Health be clubbed together for education the same and for SAPS or NPA, so that where possible, they get referred even to the relevant portfolio committee. And we don't mind even if there can be a joint kind of a sitting where we are all invited, because we are all propagating for an integrated response in dealing with this. Right now, I feel, yes, we've provided response, but with the limited information at hand, we were not in a position to make a follow-up thoroughly so with the relevant departments. When we receive it and it's specific, we are able to forward it to those relevant departments. We are still available to enlist assistance, Chairperson, in this regard. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, DDG Shoki. Chair, that is, those are our responses, but as DDG Shoki has outlined, I think broadly, what we have been able to input in terms of the responses and what we are currently doing to make sure that we, there are some interventions in terms of the work we're doing, is we trying to strengthen the coordination and collaboration between our different departments and other stakeholders to try and intervene where at all possible. We're forwarding the particular complaints, etc., that are coming to us to the relevant departments, etc., to follow up. We also then advocating wherever we have the relevant platforms, consultative meetings, workshops, etc., with departments in terms of what is happening, even in our disability rights machineries, other machineries that we have in terms of the how to actually respond, what is required, how to implement the policies, the policy provisions, etc. We even providing guidance notes, practice notes to help departments and other entities to implement procurement equity spend, including employment opportunities, economic opportunities, etc. And I think that is what we've been trying to do, and therefore one would see we've responded very, the different programs have responded to all, most or all of these questions. However, wherever it is implementation, it is difficult for us, besides to say link up with the relevant department and ask to please follow up. And that's what we have been doing. So let me pause there, Chair, and then I will, when members have any questions, etc., further to this, the relevant program managers, etc., are ready to respond. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Acting DG, thank you. I see that there is a hand.
Okay, thank you, Chairperson. My name is Putima Vilevela. I'm from the Advocacy and Mainstreaming of the Department Rights of Persons with Disabilities. I just wanted to add to what the DDG and the Acting DG has just alluded to in terms of the referrals to specific departments. Over and above that, what we did is we had a machinery meeting last month, wherein the structure of our machinery is such that we have civil society organizations and government departments represented there. And sorry about that. And that's where we keep track of progress in terms of implementation, including the white paper, including of even interventions that some of them have been listed in the as areas of concern by members in their constituency visit. For example, the issue of assistive devices by the Department of Health. We identified that the Department of Health has got to also, in their awareness raising of the different campaigns that they have on disabilities, also be able to factor in awareness on to the communities in terms of how and where, and processes in terms of sourcing of getting assistive devices, because assistive devices, you can only acquire them upon assessment by relevant medical practitioners. So we implored on them to actually come up with a program in which, as and when they go to communities for the awareness drives, which are throughout the year on different matters around health and especially around disabilities, they should then also factor in material and information that talks to how people can access and the processes of accessing assistive devices. The same with the Department of Human Settlements. We also indicated to them broadly that there will be a need for them to actually begin to outline processes. What people do not have is the how, where to go in terms of accessing all of that information, in terms of processing when they need issues of modifications, what funds are available in the human settlement space and housing in different provinces for them to actually source such modifications if needs be, or even just a simple application for a house. So we did indicate to them in the machineries, but to date, it's what we said to them they need to develop as awareness drives in estates in respective communities. I must say, Chair, that the Department of Human Settlements hosted a consultative meeting with all their provinces, and that issue was indeed raised in their Gender, Youth and Disability Forum of the Department of Human Settlements. So furthermore, what we did is, as a department, we then said that we will cluster departments according to different clusters, so that some of the issues that are raised here, even in the portfolio committee, were able to tackle them as a cluster in an integrated way. As that for Fitahomo municipality belongs to the province of Limpopo, in the office of the disability unit. And therefore, we indicated to them that instead of just focusing on Fitahomo, because the challenge might just not be on Fitahomo, around the various issues that have been raised and so forth, that there's a need for them to strengthen the machinery so that they begin to report on progress in terms of the status of persons with disabilities in their respective provinces. But I'm just giving an example of Fitahomo because it was a constituency matter that was raised. But also that they should also link up with their community development workers, because there are community development workers attached to the Department of Cooperative and Governance in the provinces. And there are also district municipalities and local municipalities who should be able to provide the status of persons with disabilities. So I'm just emphasizing that it's a coordination issue, and therefore from us at the level of coordination, when we get into this accountability platforms that we have created with the respective departments and the provinces, we then give them what they need to go and focus on in terms of giving us responses. But as DDG Shoki said, some of the cases might need us to have details so that they are followed up, because we might find that those cases are dire instead of the general approach. But I must say that indeed some of these matters are what generally people would raise over in most places where service delivery they find service delivery gaps and challenges. Thank you, Chairperson. I thought I should just add that acting DG and DDG. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I also see the hand of the Chief Director for Youth Development, if I'm correct.
Yes, that's correct, Chair. Thank you very much. Good morning to you and good morning to honorable members. Minister, if she's in the platform, ADG and colleagues. I just wanted to make an addition to the question which has been posed by Honorable Adams on high unemployment and what partnership exists between the government and private sector to create local job opportunities for the youth. I realized when DDG Shoki was presenting that there's an omission from our side on one intervention where we also have got a partnership. I just want to report that the department conceptualized the 4IR Youth Skills Initiative program, and this program is actually empowers the young people with skills that are required to succeed in the digital economy. And the training includes, amongst others, training on cybersecurity, digital skills, digital marketing, technical IT essentials, computer repairs, cell phone repairs, technical support, e-commerce, and digital marketing. These are some of the training that are being provided. We are implementing the training in partnership with DigiConnect, Human Capital Learning Solutions, Cyber M8, Cisco, NEMISA, as well as Val University of Technology and the National Youth Development Agency. In the past financial year, 2025-26, we trained 9,423 young people in various 4IR skills. And for this financial year, we are targeting 25,000 young people, and 500 of those will be youth with disabilities. We have actually signed memorandum of agreement with the various partners who are implementing the program with us. The National Youth Development Agency is providing entrepreneurial skills training, and in some cases even supporting young people who have been trained with mobile units. We also urge the municipalities to become involved. For an example, in Midval, the municipality, they are also involved even in supporting young people who have been trained with mobile units so that they can run their own enterprises. Thank you. I think we will add, the information to the template which has been provided to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm now going to take hands. I did see the hand of Honorable Polwani and Honorable Kanile, but can you raise your hands again, plus members, if you want to contribute, I will take your hands. I want to say DDG Shoke and Acting DG, thank you for raising the issue of the completeness of the information or the specifics, because I wanted to say to you that These constituency issues are matters that are very close to the heart of portfolio committee members. And when they raise them, it's probably the last resort. In other words, they've already tried through whatever means to try and resolve some of these issues. So when we get responses that state the obvious, like housing resides with human settlements or ID resides with Home Affairs, it becomes a bit discouraging, because this is a process that is important to us, and also members are taking these issues seriously because they represent constituencies in Parliament. So I think as we walk this journey together, going forward, I do not want to see responses that simply says things that members of Parliament already know, that, Home Affairs are responsible for issuing IDs and homes are provided by human settlements. We tabled these issues in May, and if the specifics were the requirement, because we did follow up with you on numerous occasions, then we should have been told to send more information. But I will take it upon myself now, as members raise their issues, that we do our bit to provide the information, all of the information that is required, so that these issues can be forwarded on to your colleagues. Because we, as members of Parliament representing constituencies, do not have the access that you've got through your various platforms to raise and forward and refer some of these issues. So I think as we start to walk this journey together, we will do our bit to provide more complete information. And then if we can get an undertaking that next time we don't get responses that state the obvious, we would obviously appreciate that. I see hands, Honourable Kanyile, followed by Dr. Leklape, Honourable Tele, Honourable Khadebe, Honourable Chauke Adonis, Honourable Mbiko, and I also saw the hand of Honourable Polwani if she wants to come last. Honourable Kanile.
Thank you very much, Chair.
I've included you, Honourable Polwani. Please proceed, Honourable Kanile.
Thank you very much, Chair. Greetings to you and everyone on the platform once again. Chair, I'd like to take this opportunity and appreciate all the responses that we have received. They were quite detailed. I want to go to NYDA. I find comfort in hearing that they are now going to the rural areas, and there's some work that have been done, and there's some improvement on the mobile trucks as well. It does look like we are moving in the right direction. With that being said, one can only hope that with all the efforts that are in place, we will start seeing the decrease in the number of unemployed young people. However, Chair, there's one issue that I'd like to raise with NYDA, which has been raised previously. I just want to ask them to look into the issue of mentoring the young people that they are funding. I know that I did raise it again, but I did not hear their expression when it comes to this issue today. But with all of that being said, we are grateful that the NYDA is moving in the right direction. Chair, coming to the department, I also welcome the responses, but I think you have covered me on the issues of specifics, because I did make notes here that immediately when they picked up that they did not have those specifics and their report was very detailed, they know very well which honorable member raised which question. They should have gotten back to us through the secretary of the portfolio and indicated that they're looking for addresses and whatever information that is outstanding. We are still willing to provide it to enable them to finalize the work that they've started. Chair, I would like to raise the issue. I have raised this issue before while we still had DG Maluleke. I have raised this issue with the previous acting DG. I would like to raise it again today. In my constituency in Likwa local municipality, it is in Standerton. There is a center for learners with disabilities. It is called Inkazimulo Jehovah Stimulation Center. I don't have the address, but I do have the contact number for the center manager if that will be required. What is happening there? there's a situation between them and the municipality and how they acquired that building. That building is not in a good condition, Chair, number one. Number two, because of the issues of payment and agreement that they cannot reach with the municipality, their electricity has been off for more than 10 years. They are switched off. This means in winter, the learners with disabilities are expected to go into that center and not have anything that is going to keep them warm. I did ask if the department can be able to intervene, maybe by having a communication with the municipality, see what kind of an agreement can be reached to ensure that those learners have electricity. And for some of their activities, because they also do some skills development programs, they need electricity and they are not able to do that. I'll appreciate if those learners can find assistance. Chair, I also have another issue. I will not mention this lady's name to protect her. She is visually impaired. I have tried to get some members within the portfolio to assist, but we are not getting assistance even from your blind SA. She was employed for a certain company, and she believes that ever since she started working there, she has always been victimized, because there was a promise that she was going to be provided with the transport, and the transport that was never provided to her. As a result, when she had work that she needed to do outside of Standerton, she was not able to go and do those cases. And even within Standerton, she will have to rely on some people that were coming to the office to consult to try and walk her to court, because obviously she can't walk alone. And over and above that, I did raise this matter with the minister as well. And apparently it was referred to the Department of Labor, but that person whose contact number we have been given is not answering her phone, because she was given a 1 month notice to terminate her contract, because they told her that they're closing the office in Standerton. And during that process, they asked her to hand over all the files she was working on to somebody else, and that person is continuing to run that office. And she believes that all these decisions were made because they wanted to victimize her because of her disability. I will appreciate it if this matter can be taken up and I be provided with feedback. I do have her contact number as well. If that information is needed, I can give it to Ms. Silly. She will give it to you. Chair, what I want to find out also from the department, I understand that we are a monitoring and evaluating department. We are not implementing. But with that being said, we need to be mindful of the fact that the issues of women, the issues of persons with disabilities and young people, they sit within this portfolio. And while we do our monitoring, we need to ensure an evaluation that their issues are addressed. I am raising this because I have observed that across our country, we are having a very big number of young persons that are into substance abuse. And most of the time when you speak to them, you realize that they are ready to be rehabilitated. But one of the issues that they are raising, it is issues of the waiting list that is very long. Because of that, they cannot go into various centers. Number two, one of them indicated that there's lots of programs, like a lengthy program that is offered by social workers. Apparently, you need to attend that program once or twice a week and all of that. And they feel that that program is not helpful. I really don't know what that program is. I have not written to the social development, but I think this department can assist, because those are the things that we need to monitor. And we need to assess against that and check if the programs that we have that are meant to assist the various groups of people that we are looking after, if they are yielding any tangible results. Because if they are not, we need to come with alternative ways to be able to ensure that they get the assistance that they need, and properly and on time. Chair, as I am closing, I wanted to touch on the issue of the human settlement that was raised by the department, that they have had a consultative forum and they have consulted all 9 provinces. I think that is a move that I fully welcome. But I'd like to find out what came out of that consultation. Because as we are sitting here today, the issues that were raised by Honorable Khatebe
are still there, are issues that one have been trying to raise in Parliament through various mechanisms of inconsistent supply of water, inconsistent supply of electricity. And sometimes these issues, they affect the whole municipality. And a lot of people, especially persons with disabilities, when we don't have water and they are expected to collect water from the water tankers, most of them, they're using crutches. Most of them are using wheelchairs. We cannot expect those people to go and pick up a 20-liter bucket of water from a truck. I think those are some of the things we definitely need to look at. And if these are issues, we will need to raise with the departments of human settlement, water and sanitation, and all of that. I think we need to find an urgent way to be able to expedite these matters, because we find ourselves speaking about one and the same issue over and over again, but when you go on the ground, the situation remains. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Kanile, for your inputs. They are most welcomed and appreciated. Dr. Leklape, good morning. Over to you, sir.
Good morning and morning to everyone. My questions go to some of the comments that were made by the chair. We have this issue of saying, oh, we went to see, but it's health responsibility on mental health. We went to see, but it's education that has to do that. So my question is, if we are a monitoring unit, what matrix do we use? What system do we use? Are we scoring them? Because what I would like to hear is to say, in terms of their responsibilities, the Department of Health, we think they've scored so much. These are the areas of improvement. This is what is lacking. So we can't be saying we are monitoring, but we go and we, are friendly with people, and there's nothing really tangible, where we should be able to go to the Minister of Health and say to the Minister of Health, from the monitoring and evaluation done by women, youth, and persons with disability on your performance in this area, here are the challenges. How are you going to deal with those challenges? Otherwise, it'll just be a revolving door, and we might have a few individuals that will be assisted on what they are doing, but systemically, we're going nowhere. There's an issue where we spoke about the Northern Cape not being able to attend a fair in Natal. My question is, have we done the drill down in terms of, did they have the budget? How were they expected to attend there? Were they sponsored to come there? Or it was the usual, that this is an activity that is not budgeted for in the province, and so people are not going to be able to pitch. What preparatory work was done so that if this is a sponsored event facilitated, did we give them the support to come in or engage with the relevant people to ensure that they are represented in that structure? There's a report that has been given of IT training, and over 9,000 people have been trained. I understand the fact that some of them might be people that were running their own businesses. But is there an assessment tool to assess as to the effectiveness of that? For example, if people attended there that were not running their businesses, that were coming to acquire a skill, did it lead to getting a job? Because we're trying to address unemployment, and we need to have a mechanism of seeing what impact we have on unemployment. Or those that are self-employed with these skills, were they able to move forward? How do we report on that? Were they able to get partners, get grants, and expand their businesses or start their businesses? So we need to be able to get a mechanism of evaluating the value of interventions. And since you are a monitoring and evaluation department, this is key for you to have the tools to monitor and evaluate, so that you can then empower us to be able to go to those departments to say, you are not doing your job, you are not performing. Here's a performance matrix where you have failed. So we need to be intentional and scientific in what we do. If we're going to have a department that is meant to monitor and evaluate, we need to be more scientific in terms of how we do that work. You should have norms, tables, standards, areas of assessment for the different departments, and we should be able to do that evaluation. It does not stop you from helping with interventions where there are individual cases that are brought to your attention that you take to the relevant ministry. but it should not take away from the fact that if you are monitoring and evaluating, we need to really be doing that. We need to be talking about reports of performance of the different departments, whether it's social welfare, whether it's education, whether it's housing. But unless you have matrix and they know what you are measuring them on, we're going nowhere very quickly. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, thank you very much, Doc, for your inputs. I think I fully agree. Our committee still struggles to fully understand what exactly is being monitored and evaluated at all times, because if we come with information that should be useful for the department, and we say that we really bring the plight of this woman or this person with disability or this young person to attention in this community where their rights are not being upheld, they're not benefiting from government services, and our department simply says that it's somebody else's responsibility, then we are going nowhere fast. So I think as much as we lack specifics, like I said, it took far too long for us to be told that we need more specifics. And as we said, the monitoring and evaluation, we want to see our department having those teeth that will, raise issues with other departments that are of concern to us as a portfolio committee. Honourable Trele.
Morning. Mine is not going to be long. My first colleagues already mentioned a lot. But what worries me, we need the time frame for those who submitted the concern about disabled people. We also have some schools at Umkababa with the same problem, which needs intervention about NYDA. If NYDA submit all what is submitted by my colleagues, I would be glad if they would give us time frame when are they going to assist them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honourable Trele. Honourable Khadebe.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you for the response, but I'm not satisfied with it. The matter I'm raising is directed to the Minister of Human Settlement regarding the Sakile Extension 8 flats. I am aware that this falls under the Department of Human Settlement. I am specifically requesting the Minister intervention because this matter has remained unresolved since 2016. The residents have been waiting for a permanent solution for years, and urgent intervention is required. I'm appealing to the Minister to intervene, to bring back the dignity of the people. Or I'll request, Chair, the Minister, to have a site visit or an oversight at Extension 8, where my constituency at Sakile, and then Honorable Kanyile can attest to that. It's horrible. It's not a nice place to visit. It's not a nice place for a human being to live there. I'm telling you, can we do maybe 1 or 2 days to go there and do the oversight? Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you, Bongane. I'm going to ask Honourable Polwane. You are up next, and the last person will be Honourable Chalke Adonis.
No, thank you, Chair. Chair, let me not repeat. I'm covered, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Polwane. Honourable Chalke Adonis.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and also to the NYDA and the department in terms of the responses that they gave to the constituency matters that have been raised. And I think on many of the contributions that have been made by the honourable members in terms of some of the concerns with the responses, I would fully concur with them, especially when we look at our department being the department that is responsible for coordination purposes. I think what we would also appreciate, Chairperson, before I move into other issues that might arise through constituency, is for us to also have an understanding on the ability of the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities on its coordination with other line departments, especially when addressing issues that are brought by the Portfolio Committee or issues that are relating to women, youth and persons with disabilities, which is the primary constituency. One would then obviously have an expectation that once it's brought to the attention of the department would then be able to then advance it or take it forward to the relevant department that would then be the responsible line department, and then receive a response in that regard and be able to monitor the outcomes of what this department of WYPD has then received. Perhaps if we can also just get clarity and a sense in that regard, it would also greatly assist us. And I think, Chairperson, we've always said that this department needs more teeth in terms of its ability to oversight, but also in terms of holding other institutions and entities accountable, especially when issues are always escalated to the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. Because I think that is the expectation that is coming from society, that any issue that's got to do with these three constituencies, they would be directed to this department, and then the department would then have to resolve. And in our understanding is that they would not be the ones to resolve it, but they would be able to escalate it. So can we have sort of a framework around how they operate, or how they seek to engage with other line departments that would be responsible for constituency issues that are brought not only by ourselves, obviously, but by the broader public and these three constituency groups. Chairperson, in terms of some of the things that I would then like to lift, I would like for the department and the NYDA to also look into one of the disability centers, which is a day training disability center in the area of Garangua, which is the Iterleng Disability Center, that requires immediate intervention and support. And I think if we can request that the department goes and does an oversight visit to be able to have an analysis or analyze what are the systematic challenges that they are faced with, which departments would then be relevant to bring forward to intervene, that would greatly assist us in having the department then oversee the entire process. They are a skills development center for persons with disabilities living with a blindness, but currently are finding themselves being under-resourced, and the persons with disabilities sort of being scattered all over and having issues with transportation, maintaining facility grounds, but also in terms of resource allocation. And I know that that would then fall under the responsibility of social development, but I think this department, being a custodian of that sector, would be able to do some sort of oversight, and then be the one that then deploys to the relevant institutions to come and also do their own oversight and then implement, etc. Chair, also there is another disability center in the Eastern Cape. In the Eastern Cape, which has requested assistance, and I think this disability center has been working to ensure that they provide services to persons with disabilities across its surrounding communities, and they have had great difficulties. I am aware that they've written to the office of the minister and have indicated that they've not received any joy. But I have indicated to them it's due to the schedule, but the minister's office would then look into the matter and assign the responsible personnel. The center is Emma Dleleni Special Disability Day and Night Care Center. So this day and Night Center also speaks about issues of being able to afford basic amenities, resource allocation. And I think, Chair, this is something that across many disability organizations and other NGOs we are greatly affected by. But I think because the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities is the custodian of disabilities, it should be able to have a database of the organizations led and run for persons with disabilities to look at what are the systematic barriers and challenges and how the relevant line departments are responding to them. They've also indicated, and through my oversight, have indicated that they are having more and more persons with disabilities who are now requesting homing or housing support. So this has become a great concern, and perhaps the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities was also just give us an indication what has been the discussion with the Department of Human Settlement in terms of the allocation for persons with disabilities when it comes to, RDP housing, special spacious housing allocation, and etc. The other one would be the Amoheti Disability Center. Now, with this, Chair, it's dealing with persons with cerebral palsy and their parents. And I think the department and also the NYDA should be visiting this particular site in Tshwane, Ga-Rankuwa, Tshwane, Atteridgeville. And the concern there is the lack of support that is being received and response from the department, but also the lack of visibility overall in the community of Atteridgeville in terms of the visibility of the NYDA. And perhaps through the NYDA, just starting with them, if we can also have an understanding of your regional offices, the mobile trucks, whether they are currently operational or not operational. How do the young people who are located in these various townships gain access without having to come to, for example, CBD town, which is something that has been quite heavily ventilated across many of the townships in the city of Tshwane. And I think the NYDA, with its strategic framework that it has already developed, would be able to address this. It just requires better coordination at a municipal level. But we also request that the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities does a very thorough analysis on the basic needs of persons with disabilities in these townships, to really understand whether it is based on health services, is it based on housing, is it educational, is it social issues that persons with disabilities and their families are affected by. And I think, Chairperson, one of the things that also comes in would be the BIG. And I think perhaps the department at some point will come back and speak to us about the BIG, because I think we've been silent on that, which would have been a bridge. I would call it a bridge to close the gap of income amongst these communities, especially those who are caregivers, family members who are responsible of taking care of the families with disabilities. My second last one, which we've escalated as well, Chairperson, with the Human Rights Commission and the CCMA, is for Nhlanhla Yolo, who is in Tshwane as well. This is for unfair discrimination in the workplace. She is working under severe severe conditions of discrimination and exclusion, and is currently taking her employer to court. Now, we would want to know that what is the role of the department, and how can the department provide support to individuals who are facing discrimination and exclusion within the workplace, and how do they seek to ensure that they are able to monitor and do follow-ups with its various institutions or line entities such as the Human Rights Commission, your CGE, and others to provide the necessary intervention and support. Currently, she will be resigning from her place of employment because of the working environment is no longer suitable and favorable. So we are looking at more and more persons with disabilities who are facing discrimination and exclusion in the workplace, and therefore falling into the gap of, persons with disabilities who are unemployed. And that gap currently, in terms of the statistics, is sitting at about between 85 and 90% of persons with disabilities not being employed, meaning persons with disabilities are the ones who are really severely affected by poverty, inequality, and discrimination. So I think a broader overview, and I think the last time, Chairperson, the department did say through its divisional unit of disability rights, indicated that they were drafting a report. Perhaps when they do come back, they would be able to give us what they've put together, what has the research findings been, and where it is that they are finding greater concern, and perhaps facilitating a broader discussion with the various department institutions, including local government, because local government is then responsible for service delivery in this regard. And I think I will then stop there for now. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Whip, for your contributions. Chief Director Maluleke, Chief Director Pillay, and DDG Shabalala, I do see your hands. I think as a way forward, acting DG, I think the current document that has been prepared with the issues, I wonder whether it would be possible for you to allocate someone in the department to make contact with honourable members where more specifics are required in order for referrals to take place. And then, of course, the issues from today needs to be added to the current document so that we've got a consolidated document. I will allow the department to just give an overview of some of the issues that have been raised in your responses, because at the end of the day, some of these issues we will not be able to adequately deal with today. But I think the general sentiment from honourable members, when I'm listening to Honourable Chauke Adonis, to Honourable Kanyile, to Honourable Khele, Kahula, and others, we are genuinely concerned about the rights of persons with disabilities. We think persons with disabilities continue to fall through the cracks, that we are not doing enough to protect them, to ensure that they have got the support that is required. So I think it's an issue that as we go to the disability colloquium that we want to host at the end of the year, that we do more in terms of focusing on some of these schools and centres that members are raising that they have visited or are of concern to them. But acting DG, if you can maybe just speak to a way forward, if you are happy with the proposal of a consolidated document with the additional issues, someone in the department to make contact with our committee for the additional specifics that is required for referral. Can we work in that way?
Yes, certainly, Chair. We will definitely include and consolidate the questions that have been raised as well within the response, and we will also contact the relevant honourable members for more details, so we can then contact the relevant departments, etc., to be able to get a response. I also that would be one of the ways forward, but I was hoping that if the chief directors and the DDG could maybe quickly give their response to the members as well, although we will also provide the consolidated response in terms of the issues that were raised in the consolidated document with responses that we will send to you. So if that is possible, and then we would be able to sum up. Would that be okay?
That is perfect. I also wish to apologize. I believe my connection isn't too stable today, so I hope that my way forward was captured. But in essence, we fully agree then. Let's update the current document with the specifics that's required. Let's get someone from your department or from your office to work with Ms. Silly, so that the additional specifics that is required is captured with the additional issues raised today. And then we will communicate with you in terms of a time frame for feedback, but with a specific focus then as members have raised on the issues of persons with disabilities. But I'm happy with your agreement to the proposal, DG. But if you want, if you want your colleagues just to then give a summarized response to some of the issues, we can do that. We can allow 5 minutes. I just want to check with the CEO of the NYDA. Did you want to add anything before we ask the department to close?
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. I thought maybe on some of the matters raised by honourable members, specifically on the mentorship one, that the NYDA is hosting a series of mentorship masterclasses with partners such as Google and the Seed Academy as a case in point, to support as many young people across key areas where the development of their businesses are concerned, which includes finance and business management, and compliance and other regulatory compliance that they need to adhere to, including marketing, branding, and sales negotiation, amongst others. And so on the mentorship side, that's currently what is being done. I think what has been elevated by Honourable Donis on the Day Training Center, I think working together with the department after their oversight, will then see what is the nature of the challenges that the center faces and what can be done to of course, support that specific center that the honourable member has also elevated, Chair. I thought maybe just to elevate those specific areas in response as well. Thank you, Honourable Chair.
Thank you very much, CEO. And also I want to thank you for availing yourself today to come personally to give us those responses, and that you also, like I said previously, had submitted them in time. I do see the hand of DDG Shokis Shabalala.
Thank you, Chairperson. I want to respond to Member Kanyile and Member Letlape. Chairperson, when it comes to monitoring, and in relation to my program, which is program 2, it is mainly monitoring that is programmatic. It's not monitoring that is broader than what is in your plan or mandate. I'll give an example. You talk National Strategic Plan on GBVF. It's got an M&E framework with clear indicators. We monitor that and we provide the reports accordingly, and we make necessary intervention for remedial. You talk NSP on sanitary, it's the same and all of that. So there's also DPME in the picture. So I think we will go back to the drawing board, and when we come back, we will provide a proper response, because DPME plays a broader monitoring role of government programs in general. There's also an M&E unit in the department. So those are the things that, as a department, we'll have to go to the drawing board and come back to you and say, other than programmatic, which is what we have been tasked to do from an APP perspective, the broader picture, how do we liaise with DPME to do this work? But the rest we are noting, Chair. We will certainly respond once there is more details. I don't want to belabor the point. Thank you, Chair. Lastly, Chair, the fact that the departments are there, they have DGs and ministers, we will deal with the matters. But at some point, there has to be a convergence point. The issue of accountability, and that is what Member Kanyile raised around, having teeth, or even Member Adonis, more teeth to deal with oversight issues. There are DGs that are assigned the responsibility. If it's Department of Water, they have a responsibility to ensure that women have access to water. If it's electricity, I'm just making an example. So we need to find a way, a mechanism collectively. How do we also deal with that part so that accountability is also held at that level? Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, thank you very much, DDG Shabalala. I think we do want to get to a point where people understand the importance of this department, but also the issues that we keep on raising as it pertains to women, youth, and persons with disabilities. I think this portfolio committee has been extremely adamant that the era where other departments can just ignore their mandates in terms of their roles and responsibilities to empower women, youth, and persons with disabilities must come to an end. And that's why we do want you to have more teeth, although we do understand how government operates. But I think going back to the drawing board from both our ends in ensuring that we've got collated full information so that issues can be forwarded, is then the resolution as supported by all of us. I want to then, at this point, check if there's anybody else that would like to say anything before I excuse the department and the NYDA. Honourable members will have to remain behind so that we can adopt some minutes and reports.
Chair, if I could come in.
Yes.
I just wanted to say that all the interventions that have been listed in terms of what we need to do, we've taken note of it, and we will definitely implement them and give you feedback. I also wanted to say that, you know, what we have, because of previously, as DGG Shoki has indicated, we have sent letters to DGs, we send letters to gender, youth, disability focal points in departments as well when we get cases that come to us over and above the monitoring matrix that we have in terms of indicators, etc., when these cases do arise. And unfortunately, because the disability, youth, and gender focal points are not as capacitated as they need to be able to help their relevant departments implement certain tasks, etc., that are asked by us. It provides a challenge with that implementation, and that's the gap that we see. And what I plan on doing going forward is when these referrals do come to us, instead of only writing DG to DG letters, we will rather do presentations at cluster level, even if it's taking it to the technical working groups of the SPCHD cluster, whichever cluster, the ESET cluster, JCPS cluster, whichever one it is related to. We will take it to do a presentation at that cluster so that relevant senior managers and directors general note it on those platforms so that we can then actually try and strengthen accountability in that way. That is something that I'll start operationalizing in the department as we move forward, because it's clear that the DG to DG ministers, the focal point letters, etc., very often goes sometimes unnoticed, and the implementation then, as we require for the service, etc., that is required, and the coordinating that we even trying to do sometimes doesn't land. So I just want to reassure you that we are aware of the challenge and we are looking at ways to overcome it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Acting DG. I think your proposal, as you've just articulated, to go a step further and to ensure that you do presentations at these cluster meetings, I think starts to speak to this teeth that this committee would like to see. And it is our hope that it will strengthen accountability. So we really do wish you well in your new role and as you implement some of these ideas. Colleagues, I want to then thank the department for spending the morning with us during our first meeting of the third term. I also would like to thank the NYDA for being present. I also wish you well, CEO and your team. Colleagues, we will then say goodbye to the department and the NYDA. You can leave us now. We will engage with you again on the 18th. We will stay behind, colleagues. We need to adopt some of our minutes and reports, please. Our meeting, we've still got about 20 minutes left. So I would like for us just to utilize that 20 minutes to adopt our minutes and reports. So please do not leave me. Ms. Silly, over to you. Please, Honourable Bungane, I see members are leaving. We won't have anybody to adopt the minutes. I see Honourable Pulwani, thank you for staying. I see Honourable Kanile. Okay, I see our Honourable Whip, so let's see if we can adopt some minutes. And Dr. Leklape, Honourable Mbiko, please, if we can just stay behind now for 20 minutes to do our minutes and reports.
Thank you, Chairperson. I will flight the minutes. They are quite a number, so it will take some time to flight each document, but I am going to try and be quick, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Silly. You can proceed. So colleagues, these were the minutes of the 10th of March. It was on the Zoom platform. You will see the attendance of committee members if we scroll down. We had Honorable Chauke Adonis, Honorable Shabango, Polwane, Tsotetsi, Adams, Kanyile, Mbiko, Mkunu, Khadebe, Trele. Most honorable members were present. This was a meeting dealing with CGE matters, and the resolution, which is highlighted in yellow, was that we will schedule a follow-up meeting with the CGE to discuss outstanding matters. As you know, we are meeting with the CGE next week. If members were able to read through these minutes, may I take a mover and a seconder, please? Honorable Polwane.
Thank you very much, Chair. I move for the adoption of these minutes.
Thank you very much. Can I take a seconder?
Thank you, Chair. I second the meetings.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Let's move to the next one. Let's just go up quickly. Colleagues, these were the minutes of 17 March. It was on the Zoom platform. This was a meeting with the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities on sanitary dignity. We also had basic education and social development present. We also considered correspondence from the Minister of Finance. Let's have a look at members present. We had a full component from the African National Congress. We had Honorable Kanyile, Honorable Mkunu, Honorable Khadebe, Honorable Trele, Mayulula, Kaula, Peterson, Dr. Leklape. So it was a full component. I see the hand of Honorable Shabango.
Thank you, Chair. I rise to propose the adoption of the minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Shabango. We appreciate that. Can we take a seconder?
Chairperson?
Yes, Honorable Chauke Adonis.
Thank you very much. I move to second the adoption.
Thank you very much. We can move to the next set.
Please, 10 April.
Thank you very much, Ms. Silly. We are dealing with the minutes of 10 April Zoom platform. We were discussing the shortlisting criteria for the CGE, I assume. Let's go down. We had a full component of the African National Congress. We had a full component from the Democratic Alliance. We had a full component from the MKP. Ms. Mayulula was present as well as the PA. At this meeting, we talked about the shortlisting of candidates for the Commission for Gender Equality. So this was a pretty straightforward meeting. We shortlisted. There are all the codes that you read into the record, colleagues. May I ask for a mover and a seconder? You will recall, colleagues, these were just us reading into the record our candidates to be shortlisted, and then we read the names into the record.
Chair.
Honorable Tele.
I move, Chair.
Thank you very much, Ndosi. I see the hand of Honorable Khadebe.
Thank you. I second the mover of the minutes.
Thank you so much, Honourable Member. Let's go to the next set, Ms. Silly. Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Silly. These were the minutes of the meeting held on the 24th of March, and we were on the Zoom platform. You will recall, colleagues, that we met with the the University of the Free State, and this was about the research done on the safety of sanitary products. We also had a briefing by Dr. Tembe on the CGE appointment process. Let's go down to members present. We had a full component of the African National Congress, a full component of the Democratic Alliance, a full component of the MKP. We had a full component of the EFF, the Patriotic Alliance, and Action SA. At the end, we observed that the university should have communicated their strategies in a better way. We also resolved that the University of the Free State should undertake more research and that there should be greater collaboration between themselves and the South African Bureau of Standards, were some of the resolutions, members, which you would have read when you went through the minutes. And then Dr. Tembe briefed us on publishing the CVs received from the shortlisted candidates. And you will see all the recommendations we made in yellow when you read the minutes. Can I take a mover and a seconder, please? Honourable Mbiko. Honourable Mbiko.
I hereby move, say.
Thank you very much, Honourable Mbiko. Honourable Kanile.
Thank you very much, Chair. I second. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Kanile. We can move to the next set. I will only keep you till 12:30, colleagues. So by 12:30, we will be done. So thank you for your patience. Colleagues, these were the minutes of the meeting held on the 21st of April. This was a very short meeting. We only considered the letter that we had received from the President of the Republic with regards to the remuneration of public office bearers as it pertains to the CGE. We also looked at our second term program. Again, we had a full component from the ANC, a full component from MK, a full component from the EFF, Patriotic Alliance, and Action SA. Please, may I take a mover and a seconder?
I move for the adoption, sir.
Thank you very much, Honourable Bungane.
Thank you, Chair. I second the motion for adoption of the minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We can move to the next set, Ms. Silly. Colleagues, this was the draft report of the Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities with regard to the second and third quarterly performance and expenditure report of our department. I hope members were able to read through the report. I think we can go down to the recommendations. Observations. In general, the committee requested clarification on the department's participation in the G20 summit. The department requested clarity on the continuous targets that have not been met and mitigation strategies in this regard. Move down, please. We spoke about disability matters. The department should clarify key disability targets on its programs and targets not reached. We had observations and recommendations on youth matters. The department should clarify why the SAPS Youth Indaba did not take place and provide clarity whether G20 funding were diverted from this program. The department failed to meet its 30% target on youth-owned enterprises. With regards to finances, we raised the issue of the large number of deviations. The committee sought clarity from the department with regard to the age in which a person is appointed under the youth category on their central supplier databases. We raised issues with regard to internal audit constraints and shortcomings. The committee noted that donor funding allocated to the department and sought more clarity in this regard. Please move down. And the committee noted with concern the expenditure on a 5-day event for 35 participants at the OR Tambo Radisson. The committee noted with concern the deviation for the procurement of cars. The committee noted the bypass of procurement procedures on G20 expenditure. The committee noted a request to SCOPA on unauthorized expenditure. On human resources, again, issues around internal audit capacity. The committee asked for clarity on the arbitration and settlement of an employee matter. We raised issues on their core programs. Please move down.
Sorry, Chair.
No problem. I'm just trying to summarize some of the issues. And then resolutions, colleagues, they are listed there for your benefit. The committee will visit the department's offices in the second term, which we did. The department submit a report on response to the whistleblower complaints, which we haven't received. The department should submit the business case presented to the National Treasury and provide progress report in this regard. The department should submit a copy of its NYDA quarterly monitoring report, which they haven't done. The department should submit its audit action plan. The department should submit a progress response to the matters raised by the Audit Risk Committee. The acting DG to submit an exit report to the committee. And now we've got a new acting DG already again. The department to submit a progress report on all outstanding bills and envisaged timeframes. This is an issue which Honourable Chauke Adonis raised earlier. That was our report, colleagues. You'll see some of these items in terms of resolutions remain outstanding, and we should raise it when the department comes to us on the 18th for their quarterly reports. Please, may I ask for a mover and a seconder of our report? Honourable Kanyile. Honourable Shabango.
I move for adoption, Chairperson.
Yes, Honourable Shabango. You move for the adoption?
Yes, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mklonishwa. Honourable Kanyile.
I second, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Silly. Colleagues, these were the minutes of our meeting held at the Sandton Hotel, session 2, Tuesday, 28 April. We dealt with the NYDA annual report, or annual performance plan, my apologies, for 2026-2027. We had 4 members of the African National Congress, Honorable Chauke Adona Shabango Polwani Tsotetsi, Honorable Kanyile, Honorable Kunu Khadebe, Honorable Mailola, and Honorable Peterson, and Honorable Dr. Leklape. If we move down, we'll look at the resolutions. You can go way down. We'll just look at resolutions. Thank you, Ms. Silly. But members, you would have read through these observations because we've already debated this in the House. Okay. I think members are comfortable with the content of this report because we have debated it in the House. So may I ask for a mover and a seconder? Dr. Leklape? Dr. Leklape, I see your hand.
I move, Chair, that we adopt.
Thank you very much, Dr. Leklape. Please, may I take a seconder? Honorable Polwane.
I second, Chair.
Thank you very much. Can we go to the next set, please? Colleagues, this was the session 1 in the morning when we met again at Sandton Hotel. We met with our departments. Again, the same situation would apply because we've already debated these matters in the House, but in essence, the department came to present the annual performance plan for 2026-2027. We had Honorable Chauke Adonis, Honorable Shabango Polwani Tsotetsi Kanile Kunu Khadebe, Honorable Mayulula, Honorable Peterson, and Dr. Leklape. We can move to the Honorable Kanile.
Thank you, Chair. I move for the adoption of the minutes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kanile. Can I take a seconder? Honorable Khadebe.
Thank you, Chair. I second, Chair, but with the input or correction, I think there is an omission. Honorable Mbigo was present on the second day. On the first day, she was sick. I'm not talking on behalf, but I want the minutes to be corrected. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Khadebe, for that intervention. We'll make sure that it's properly captured. Thank you for your support. Let's move to the next set. We've got 4 minutes left, and so we can do 2 more. Colleagues, this was the report of our oversight visit to the offices of the NYDA, our department, and the CGE. I think we'll go to resolutions. Okay, committee resolutions. Having engaged with the department, the NYDA, and the CGE, we resolve to invite the Minister of Public Works to brief the committee regarding the urgent infrastructure needs of the department and the CGE. And just to try and say that Ms. Abrams had in fact tried to facilitate a meeting for this term. We were going to piggyback on another meeting of Public Works, but unfortunately we could not arrange that. But I think now that we're looking at these resolutions, we should be reminded that in our already very busy fourth term, we should find a slot to deal with this issue. The committee to invite the Minister of Public Works to brief the committee to invite the Minister of Public Works to provide clarity on the processes to determine the suitability of office accommodation. The committee will engage the National Youth Development Agency on a proposed cost-effective measures related to office accommodation and lease agreements. The CGE to update the committee in terms of its head office relocation. The CGE will keep the committee updated on planned new offices that are being built. I think we need to flag all of these issues for next week, Ms. Abrams, when the CGE will be before us. The department, the CGE and the NYDA to submit any documents or reports as requested by the committee following the oversight visits. Colleagues, that is our report. Report to be considered, and I will take a hand for a mover and a seconder, please. Honourable Kanile.
Thank you, Chair. I move for the adoption of the minutes.
Thank you very much. Honourable Khadebe.
Hey, thank you, Chair. Hey, before I second, I like to emphasize the importance of having a physical meeting with the minister so that we can conduct a site visit and and witness the conditions of that place. It's not okay. I think this matter is long overdue. Thank you very much, Chair.
Okay.
I second. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I fully concur. It is a resolution that we took that we want to meet the Minister of Public Works there. But now, colleagues, as you would have seen, we have discussed our third and fourth term program. We've also said that we'll be having virtual meetings until after the election. So it means we'll possibly have to prioritize this oversight visit as one of our last items on the fourth term. But we will see where we can prioritize it because it is outstanding. Thank you very much, colleagues. We will adopt one more set. How many more do we have left, Ms. Silly?
Chairperson, we have about 6 left, but we can do one more.
One more. Then we'll leave 5 for next week.
Please, let's do one more.
One more and then 5 for next week. That's fine.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
The last
Chairperson.
one. This was another set. I think here we would have engaged the CGE, yes. Again at Sandton Hotel, again on the annual performance plan for 2026-2027. We can move right to the end. We know all the honourable members that attended. Honourable Chauke Adonis, Shabango Polwane, Tsotetsi, Kanyile, Mbiko, Khadebe, Mkunu, Peterson, Dr. Letlape. So we almost had a full. I see the hand of Honourable Shabango.
Thank you, Chair. We read and I move for adoption. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I take a seconder? Honourable Polwane.
I second, Chair.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, thank you very much for your attendance this morning. I think it was a very important meeting to follow up on all the constituency issues and also to chart a way forward in terms of how we want to deal with those issues going forward. Thank you for staying so that we can adopt our minutes and reports. I wish you a wonderful week, colleagues. We will meet again next week when we meet with the CGE. And having received your inputs in terms of the draft framework for the fourth term, we will see where we can utilize some additional Fridays for the additional meetings that we have to schedule. And then, as we had resolved, we are going to do the follow-up meeting with the NYDA on governance and leadership matters in the 4th term as well. So, colleagues, I wish you well. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we will meet next Tuesday at 9:30. Thank you. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
And everyone.
Long live the chair.
Thank you,
Thank
colleagues.
you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank
Bye
you,
to
Chair.
everyone.
Thank you, Chair.